Question is, are you ready? Let me talk to you.
I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I can.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I am that damn good.
I am the B-E-S-T.
And the color red in a world full of black and white. I am the eater of worlds. Yeah, if you're some man, acknowledge me. The champ is here. But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
Hey, yo.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of PCW, Podcast Championship Wrestling. And oh boy, we have a very, very special episode for you. It is the Slammy Awards. We are going to be going over our picks for the 2023 Slammy Awards. Now, these are our awards, these are our picks, these are our categories, but you know what? Let me bring them out here, suit and tie, whatever they're wearing tonight for this special occasion. Let me bring them on out. Here we go.
We were supposed to wear something?
What are you wearing, Dre, for the Slammy Awards? I mean, you gotta dress nice, right? It's like the Hall of Fame almost. You gotta dress real swaggy.
Yeah, I'm wearing Deadpool pajama pants and a black t-shirt.
Nice, dude. I am wearing the gray sweatpants with the hoodie. You know, nice and cozy in my office here. Let's bring on the guy who's probably doing this naked. Here we go.
How'd you guess?
Yeah, you don't even know me. Yeah, you don't even know me. You don't even know me. Yeah, you don't even know me. These 16 bars cost 16 cars. Kiss these balls, bitch, we stars. Fuck that shit, you ain't hot like Prince. I got a little shine, but not like this. Time crumbles when a jet black inside crumbles.
Doyle.
Oh, it's me, it's the Doyle. And yeah, I'm naked as the day I was born.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
No hands. Yeah. Well, hey, man. Whatever makes you comfortable to do the show.
Oh, I'm comfortable.
Yeah. If this is how you want to present your awards, then so be it. I did have a little gift for you. Doyle. I was thinking about you, listening to last year's episode, and I thought, we're doing the Slammy Awards. Let's do it right with a little bit of some music here. Does this sound familiar?
That's funny.
I can picture it now. It's 1987, Doyle.
Yes.
All the wrestlers, all the WWF wrestlers are up on stage, dancing.
Yeah, that was terrible. It's so funny.
Oh man, God,
You really want to be playing a
You really want to be playing a song talking about what you're going to do to him, knowing that he's butt naked right now?
Yeah, right. That's true. That's a good.
Oh god. Yeah, I was kind of cringing when I was watching that because then each wrestler got like their little chime in, the little chorus piece. They get the chime in on the song, and it's a little cringy.
Oh yeah, it's a lot cringy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to say it.
And it's like, could you picture that today? Like in the modern day? Like no, we have enough bad skits that make me cringe. So as it is, you know. We let's
ain't that?
Yeah.
See, that was back in then when they were riding that "We Are the World" wave.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to get the whole company together to sing a song. They did "We Are the World." Fucking the Chicago Bears did it with the Super Bowl shuffle. WWE did it with their roster. For some reason, everybody thought that was cool and thought they could have their "We Are the World" moment. And everybody except "We Are the World" looked terrible.
Well, you don't know. You don't look cool until you do it, and you don't look cool.
Yeah, and then it's on YouTube forever.
Yeah, they didn't know the internet was going to come along and revive it. 30 years later, 40 years later.
So, if you are listening to this episode now, naked like Doyle, maybe you should head over to Pro Wrestling Tees and at least, for the love of God, throw on a PCW shirt over your chest. It'll protect you from all the elements. It might even protect you from girls. But yeah, we've actually been selling a couple. We sold 3 more the other day, and I was at a New Year's Eve party, and I broke out the old QR code and told some people at the party, "Hey, come to our store, check it out." QR code, just so easy, man. Just no typing, nothing. Just scan it, do your thing. I love it, and just QR codes for everything. So, but I mean, you guys got your shirts, right? I mean, how are they?
Mm-hmm.
How are they? What kind of material?
They're good shirts. Like I got mine. It was a good shirt. Quality on them's fairly good. At least they don't like pick out the cheapest type of shirt possible.
Yeah.
Well, they give you a lot of options. Options, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. It's not just like, we only have cotton, so just pick your size. Pray to God it doesn't shrink when you wash it. Yeah, because like all of my old wrestling shirts, they do not fit anymore. They all shrunk. So they're all for Andrea to wear now. So now she's wearing...
Did they shrink or did you expand?
I'm cultivating mass. I like to think, But like, I look at some of the shirts, back when CM Punk was around, a long time ago, and I'm just like, I was a different man back then because I was a different size because I no longer fit in this shirt. Yeah. So yeah, it shows that time has passed. And with that, this year, oh man, so much has happened. I've been watching. I assume you guys have too. Been watching recap videos, watching other award ceremonies. Fox did their version of who they think is best male superstar and female superstar. I saw their list of things. ESPN Highlight did a list. It seems like everybody has a Bleacher Report even had one. What Culture of their version of the Slammies, and it seems like we just don't have the big ceremony anymore. It used to be broadcasted on TV, and I can't remember the last one that we had. And you would think they would have, I don't know, done one this year, but
honestly, in my opinion, I'm kind of glad that WWE does not do their own version of it, just because I don't like the prospect. I don't like the whole thing of a in-house company doing their like awards thing, because there's a level of bias, or it's really just mostly propaganda.
Yeah.
As opposed to being an actual, third party outside looking in opinion of it. So I appreciate more of the opinions from like ESPN or Bleacher Report or those who report on wrestling without actually being, the promoters themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always just so goofy. It's just a opportunity to say that's nasty to Zawa, and that's all it is. Dumb, low hanging fruit jokes. And I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I also am not going to miss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. All right, well, we got a couple categories here. A few. If you listened last year, we're going to kind of maybe tweak things a little differently, but still the same format. This will be our annual thing. I mean, why not? They don't want to do it, so we'll do it. Plus, we have that nice gap between pay-per-views, and I kind of liked waiting until after the holidays to do this, and also seeing, like I said, other people's versions of the Slammies, and instead of us being the first ones out the gate, so I'm kind of glad we waited. And, hats off, by the way, to Triple H for letting all those guys go home for the holidays, not having to work events during the holidays. So that was nice. They did like a best of Raw and best of SmackDown during Monday and Friday, and it was like the first time I was like, I can take a break. I don't have to watch this. Because I was there all year. So why I don't have to watch this right now? I was there. So, it was a nice little 1 week break of wrestling because they'll get back at us during WrestleMania week. And it seems like this week, with all the wrestling that they have jammed together, they get us back again anyway. It's forever a part of my life. Yes, of course, loud truck. Just please drive by during the middle of my podcast. Very rude. I apologize. All right, let's kick things off here. I want to start with the best non-WWE superstar. That's going to be somebody who's not a WWE wrestler. It could be somebody coming in from the outside. Maybe a celebrity that you think did well, or maybe from a different wrestling company altogether. I actually want to shake things up. So, Dre, I want to hear who you had as your best non-WWE, superstar for the year.
Okay, so given that I most primarily watch the WWE product,
right?
When it came to my choice for non-WWE superstar of the year, I basically checked for who got onto my radar this year. Who was somebody that was working in another company or outside of WWE that I was not aware of that much before, but now suddenly have become aware of because of the work that they're doing. And for me, there's pretty much one person that, pretty much one person that popped onto my radar pretty late, later on this year. And that person is Swerve Strickland from AEW. I know he had a previous run in WWE or in NXT. I know he was previously affiliated with Hit Row, and he's the guy that everybody attributes Hit Row's old success to, and said basically the reason why the three of them who came back sucked is because they did not have him. But I wasn't watching during that time, so I can't speak to all that. What I can speak to is the fact that he appears to be somebody who is on the rise in AEW and poised to be one of their top stars going into 2024. Hopefully so, if they book him right. And for a company like AEW that has its own stars, obviously, in-house, but seems to be very hit and miss in terms of really developing them into being top-tier caliber stars that can compete in terms of notoriety on the same playing field as what WWE has. For Swerve Strickland to has elevated himself to that point, at least in my eyes, that's what warrants him being the best non WWE superstar of the year for me.
Cool. Doyle, what do you got, bud?
I'm going to give a bunch of honorable mentions, just kind of get all of my non-WWE stuff out of the way, I guess, in one fell swoop. So some honorable mentions. Samoa Joey, of course, who just won the AEW title, had a great year. God damn it, did a lot of people on this list, the WWF fucked up by WWE. Sorry, it's only been 20 years. Really fucked up by not retaining. MJF also a great year. Christian had a great year, super entertaining with his dead father stuff. Timeless Tony Storm is just phenomenal, fucking hilarious. She's doing great stuff. Athena, they got her buried down in Ring of Honor there, but every time she steps in the ring, it's a treat. And, Trinity, maybe formerly known as Naomi, maybe futurely known as Naomi, had a great year with TNA Impact, whatever the hell they're called these days. Naito over in Japan. Swerve, awesome year. That death match with Adam Page was fucking phenomenal. Orange Cassidy, Willow Nightingale, and Julia Hart, all great years. But the best year in the non-WWE category, for my money, is Will Ospreay. I mean, every time this guy wrestled in 2023, he put on an absolute clinic. I mean, he's got me watching fucking Impact, which I never watch. You know what I mean? And, not that Meltzer's ratings mean a whole hell of a lot, but I think he had 8 or 9 5+ star matches this year. Just crazy. This guy puts on classics, and almost an unprecedented clip. And when he was just a free agent, I guess AEW signed him over WWE. I think ultimately it's probably a better move for him. I think their roster is kind of more equally suited to provide him with dance partners to continue to put on 5-star matches than the WWE is. And that's probably where he'll be most able to shine, I think. But, I mean, across multiple promotions, this guy was everywhere. And if you haven't seen this guy, I really, really urge you to do it. He had 2 just absolute fucking bangers with Kenny Omega. Yeah. I'm going to butcher some of these. Japanese names, I'm sure. Shingo Tagaji, great match. Naomichi Marufuji, Zack Sabre Jr., Josh Alexander, Okada, Y2NDA, Chris Jericho, Yoda Saguchi, Speedball Mike Bailey. The list goes on and on. Shota Umino, and Naito, rather, who I mentioned earlier. Yeah, and I mean, I think he's primed to be even better in 2024. I mean, we're looking at maybe another match with Omega if he gets healthy. Danielson, Claudio, Moxley, Swerve, Keith Lee. I mean, the list of dance partners is immense over there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does next.
Cool, man. I'm gonna kind of echo a little bit both of you guys, because Dre, just like you, I've been just so this year just driven into WWE. Just maybe it's because of just how much time just wrestling takes up during the week. I mean, there's literally, if you're a wrestling fan, you can spend every day watching wrestling. Every day. It no matter the company, there's wrestling on every day somewhere. And on the weekends, you can find SmackDown replaying in Spanish, in Espanol. So it's everywhere.
I think Wrestle Kingdom, is tomorrow morning for us. Yeah. It's Japan's big show.
Yeah. So it's just so much to absorb. So I've been just focusing mainly on WWE stuff, but I have kept my ear to the ground, and I'm always I have AEW stuff and Impact Wrestling stuff, in my feed. So I'm seeing it. I see what makes it. Because I'm seeing who's getting TV time, who's getting, social media time or social media worthy time. There's certain people that work for that company, for AEW, that I just haven't seen a lot of, and not even on social media. And I'm like, they're still employed there. But, this year, some wrestlers, Doyle, you were rattling off, basically most of the ones I have, Tony Storm. What they
or,
did.
I mean, I think it's gonna get old soon, but
Yeah.
for right now, God damn it, is it funny?
Yeah, this 50s Hollywood starlet gimmick she has, like, she has a gimmick that's working for her, and like, you know, she's
it's not like anything anyone else is doing.
Exactly, she's won her title, the women's title, 3 times,
I believe.
Yeah, and she's going into 2024 as the champion. It just goes to show, like, you know, WWE, what they could have done with somebody like this. You know, a lot of AEW. That's what's great with AEW and like Impact is Trinity. You know, formerly Naomi. Like, look, she made herself a bigger star in Impact Wrestling. You know, like, rumor has it she's, you know, probably coming back. You know,
yeah. Cody and Drew kind of invented that.
Yeah.
Kind of going away, making an even bigger name for yourself, and then coming back like king shit of fuck mountain. you know?
Yeah, exactly. And a notable guy who carried AEW on his back this year is probably MJF, being champion as long as he has been, and he from what I saw, he was a heel, and then he turned to AEW's top babyface.
He also did kind of great thing where like the character didn't really change that much. And that's always kind of masterful when you can. And LA Knight has kind of done the same thing.
Yeah.
Where his heel character and his face character aren't really that different.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd and who he's going after changed.
Yep.
So the slot on the babyface side of the ledger changed.
Yeah, and man, Christian being the
hilarious
big heel that he is, and you know, one of my favorite lines that came from Christian this year.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. What him and Adam Copeland are doing over there. But yeah, it's mostly, AEW top people in the company and a sprinkling of some Impact Wrestling characters. But, I hope now that these people are bigger, a lot bigger, some of them, when their contracts are up, if they come to WWE, that value still holds with these guys. Because a big one, that had a good year and that we signed was Jade Cargill. I mean, that's one I'm waiting to see how that pans out. And I'm waiting to see. And I have nothing but high hopes, and I expect nothing but the best that's coming from her. So I'm just, excited to see somebody from the outside coming in. And we just haven't seen anything yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I agree with everything that y'all have said. And, just because I don't want people to think that, we're WWE fanboys or anything like that, just because we're not necessarily checking in week by week, minute by minute on, AEW or Impact or, any of the other promotions on like that. It's pretty much like you said. There's only so much time in the week, and obviously, as regular people, we have multiple interests. So there's only so much time I can invest in just wrestling at this moment, because obviously I got other things I enjoy doing as well. So I don't have any anything against AEW or anything against Impact or anything of that nature. It's just whatever makes it onto my radar. Those are the things I check for.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the rise of Swerve Strickland, MJF. I'm aware that he's done great work. Like you mentioned, Trinity Fatu, she's having a hell of a run in Impact as their Knockouts champion. She's been doing great work down there. Athena down in Ring of Honor. Yeah, she's had an incredible run as their women's champion down there. These are things that obviously we're aware of, and it speaks to the work that these people are doing. I'm aware of Toni Storm and her run with the current Hollywood starlet persona she's created for herself. These are things that I'm aware of, and things that have entered my wrestling space that have broken through that proverbial WWE bubble. And that does speak to the great work that these people are doing outside of WWE. Like Doyle, the rant you went on about Will Ospreay. Yeah, he's doing incredible work right now. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that it was probably for the best that he did not sign in WWE, because I don't think he would be able to cook in WWE the way he is in these other promotions where he has much more freedom in the ring to work his style and work his way. And
it still would have been fun, but
oh, sure, it would have been fun. We would have loved it. We would have loved to see the hype.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of people
do better.
Yeah. I think the thing about a guy like Will Ospreay is that, you know, a lot of what people enjoy most about him is purely his in-ring work and his performance in the ring. And we know in WWE, it takes more than just being great in the ring to really get over and get elevated to the top.
Yeah.
They could bring him in, they could hype him up, and he can have that initial hype and all that. But a company like WWE could just as easily bury him down in the mid card because, like, yeah, you put on great matches, but where's the character?
Yeah.
Whereas, and he can end up being, you know, more or less undervalued. Whereas in a company like AEW, that's all more about just, you know, having just great matches, and, you know, to a certain extent, storyline and stuff like that is a bit secondary at times. A person like Will Ospreay, who can just absolutely cook in the ring, can truly shine somewhere like that, where you can pair him up with other guys who are great in the ring, and they can just put on phenomenal matches, and that alone can build him up and make him, you know, a top wrestler outside of WWE, and make him the highly coveted free agent that he was at the time before he signed with AEW.
Yeah, that's why I like picking this category, because this, you know, even though we have tunnel vision and we're watching a lot of WWE content, like, this award allows us to see out of our peripherals, like, who's sticking out to us, who's standing out, and we're noticing. But basically what we're saying is, we see your hard work and we're noticing it, and that's a big deal coming from, you know, people who kind of, you know, put most of their time into one product. And, you know, that's what I do, is I put a lot of my time into one product because, like you said, Ray, we got other shit we want to do. Like, hey, I like watching Game of Thrones, you know? I don't just watch wrestling all the time. I like to watch Loki. I like to watch things like that. But, you know, I gotta spend my time wisely. And, like, you know, how upset I was when I heard that we might make SmackDown 3 hours. Like, the fuck you are. No, that 1 hour means so much to me. Going to bed at 10 o'clock. 3 hours.
Too long.
Yeah, Raw should be 2. Raw should be fucking 2 hours. And because there's when I go to Hulu to, like, sometimes recap like a Raw or SmackDown, the fact that they can put a 3-hour show into an hour and a half, and it's just like, I know they cut out commercials and shit, but there's also a lot of just garbage we don't need.
That's why I rarely watch it live. Because I can watch a 3-hour Raw in about under an hour. You know,
like
commercial and bullshit.
Just get the cliff notes.
This 5-minute recap of SmackDown. Fast forward. I thought already. You know, or I know what happened.
Yes, because, like, that is one thing I will say about AEW as a whole. Like, I loved is, like, when you return to AEW and they say they start at 8 o'clock. Wrestling started at 8 o'clock. They had opponents already in the ring. The bell rung. Like, that's it. Like, you know how many times I would just turn to AEW, and it was like, all right, well, we only got like an hour or 2 hours. Like, let's make the best of it. So, like, there's no time for bullshit and recapping. Like, you want to recap shit? Go to social media. Like, we don't got time for that. So,
well,
AEW
is a wrestling show, and WWE is a television show that has wrestling in it.
Yeah, very much so. I'll say AEW is much more in the vein of old school WCW, NWA than it is trying to be a WWE clone.
And they're spending money like latter-day WCW.
That too. That part too.
Yes. All right, guys, moving right along. We are going to get to some base. What are your best heel or face turns of the year? Some of them some of them, even if you saw them coming, like one that you were excited for, the one that it could be one that you didn't see coming. But some of these turns are for the best for the character. For me, ones that really stood out was Brock Lesnar turning on Cody, Sami Zayn going face and leaving the bloodline, going face at the Royal Rumble. Definitely notable. Recently, Santos Escobar turning on Rey Mysterio. We had Trish Stratus turn heel this year against Becky Lynch. But I don't like Trish as a heel, but she did it. I mean, some people it just doesn't work for her. Jimmy Uso, going, I guess, back to heel after being a face. He kind of flip-flopped this year. Jimmy, babyface,
he turned twice.
Yeah, he turned twice. Tommaso Ciampa.
Escobar turned twice, actually, because he was a heel, then he aligned with Ray to become face, and then he turned on Ray to become heel again.
Yeah.
A lot of people turned a couple times.
We got, LA Knight kind of naturally just turned babyface. He wasn't a babyface at the beginning of the year, and we kind of made him a babyface. Probably the most frustrating one for me this year, and Dre might even agree with me, is the Bobby Lashley Street Profits. Like, these guys are supposed to be heels, but we get Bobby chants. People still love Bobby Lashley. I don't know if the Street Profits are heel. They're supposed to be heel. They changed their theme music this year.
I don't even think WWE knows what the fuck they are.
No. I think they're trying to let something naturally happen, and they just don't know which way it's going.
No, if they were letting something naturally happen, then we wouldn't be in this position in the first damn place. They would be freaking baby faces because everybody popped like a motherfucker when they got together.
Oh, man, I got you fired up now. I got you.
Goddamn thing natural about what the fuck they doing with them.
Shit. We got Drew McIntyre turning heel this year. And AJ Styles turned heel. So, I don't know. I think the Jimmy Uso was kind of like my favorite. I think out of nowhere for me. Let me see. I guess out of nowhere it probably been Drew McIntyre because I didn't see that, or AJ Styles. I didn't see that coming out of nowhere. But Drew, since Doyle, what do you think? What are some ones that stuck out to you this year?
I mean, you pretty much mentioned them all. The only one I would mention that you didn't mention would be, I don't think you mentioned, would be Asuka turning on Bianca. You mentioned the one that I picked as my favorite. And really the only one, I mean, you saw it coming a mile away, but made me fucking stand up and cheer was when Sami Zayn finally had enough of Roman and his bullshit and fucking hit him with that chair. And I just remember going, And I didn't get that out of any of the other turns, whether I saw them coming or not. So that was my pick, was Sami turning on the bloodline, finally.
Yeah. Dre, what about you?
For me, I ain't gonna lie, for a while I kind of struggled thinking of noteworthy heel or face turn of the year, because there were obviously people who did turn heel and face throughout the year, but
right.
As you just listed, but not a lot of them really felt noteworthy or like significant. Most memorable heel turns or face turns are usually associated with moments, like this was the moment when that person turned from heel to face, and this, that, and the third. Even with Sami Zayn, yeah, granted, him cracking Roman in the back with the chair was his, face turn moment. That's probably the closest thing we got to a real moment.
Right.
But like, even when he was in the Bloodline, he was like the least hated member of the group. Like, he came out and people still cheered for him and kind of popped for him. Like, he was a face, more or less a face in a heel faction.
I know. That's
Everybody's
funny.
like, we hate the Bloodline, but we love Sami Zayn.
Yep.
And shit. Like, he had the moment of, like, one of the top moments of 2023 with the whole feeling Uzi shit. So, like, even that was like, yeah, he turned face, but it was more or less like he was already there. So even that one I kind of struggled with, again, not to shit on Doyle's choice, because, again, that's probably like the only turn that was really associated with a strong, memorable moment. But for me, ultimately, I would say the heel / face turn of the year, I'm going to give it to LA Knight, just because I think his turn changed among everybody else who had a heel turn or a face turn. I think his had the most impact on his own career directly.
Right.
Everybody else kind of, they were already in one place. They turned heel or turned face. Nothing really changed as far as their career or their trajectory.
Right.
LA Knight turning face, one, it happened organically from the fans just wanting to cheer him. And then WWE finally just decided to roll with it. And then from there, it's pretty much rocketed him into the stratosphere as being one of the top faces in the company. Mm-hmm. And it's all happened.
Remember how his year started with that goofy ass Bray Wyatt match.
Bray Wyatt match, that Mountain Dew midnight neon shit.
Fucking stupid as fuck.
Well, that's where he was last year. He was a manager. Like,
yeah,
last year he was Maxine Dupree.
Yeah,
and then when you think about it, he started the year in arguably one of the worst matches that happened this past in 2023, and he's ended it as one of the top baby faces in the company.
Yeah, and it was also the last match with Bray Wyatt.
That too.
Yep.
That'll be my face turn of the year. I'll give it to LA Knight.
Yeah, dude, I like those picks. I like all those picks. I know. I just shot a bunch out of the cannon, but there's plenty of more that I probably missed. But and like going ahead, like we have so much, tension with a lot of characters right now. Like I could see a bunch in the future. We're seeing some factions and not working well together. A little bit of tension. We see that with tag teams right now. And we just see some stale characters that need a turn. So, but, let's see. All right, we're going to move on to Botch of the Year. Oh my goodness. I really didn't have as many as I did last year. I have very little.
There was no flop dollar moment this year.
Yeah, dude, there was none. There was no Vince McMahon taking a terrible stunner. We just had like injuries. Like, this year we had Kofi Kingston eliminated himself from the Rumble way too soon. He tried to do a spot, didn't work out
for like the third year in a row.
Yeah, and I watched it, and it's like
time to retire that spot, Kof. I love Kofi Kingston, but it might be time to retire the.
Well, you can only do so many ideas.
Yeah, I think he's even acknowledged that himself.
Yeah, I think he's fucked it up like 2 or 3 times in a row now.
Yeah. We don't need it anymore, man. Just
I don't want him breaking his neck.
Yeah, I don't want you breaking your neck.
Trying to do this crazy,
Yeah. The last thing you want to do is end up with Big E on the sidelines because you try to jump on a fucking chair with wheels. So
exactly.
But that, and recently Charlotte got injured with her knee. She's gonna be out for like 9 months. Not really a botch, but just injuries. I don't know. Maybe you guys can like jog my memory because like I think that's the issue because I think.
Oh, for me, there was only one choice.
Oh yeah, Doyle, let's hear it.
And I mean, if I hate to laugh when people get hurt. I'm just kidding. I love to laugh when people get hurt. For me, it was Shane O'Mac tearing both his quads immediately after making a return that nobody asked for.
Oh yes.
Oh, I forgot all about that one.
This is much deserved right here.
Jobbing to Snoop Dogg. You know, like.
It deserves the laugh.
Just his father before him.
Yes, deserves the Seth Rollins laugh.
Just like his father before him, he tears both of his quads from no contact in a WWE ring. And like I said, I'll laugh at somebody getting hurt when their last name is McMahon. I have no problem there. So that was my botch of the year. But I would also point to KO falling off the top rope during the Roman match at the Rumble. They had a bad spot there. That mixed tag that Edge and Beth Phoenix had with Finn and Rhea. Beth was supposed to bust up a pin, and she was just late as fuck. And the referee did the 2, and then LA Knight also fell off the top rope in his match with Sheamus. And then there was a great promo with Miz talking to Theory, and I think the New Day was there, and he just completely forgot what he was saying. He starts laughing, New Day starts laughing, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The botch of ear shade.
Oh man, Dre, what do you got?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, you jogged my memory with a couple of those, Doyle.
Yeah,
especially like the LA Knight one. I remember that one when he tried to pull the Kurt Angle thing where he runs up the rope and grabs the person and throws him off, and he completely slipped and missed. Yeah. Another one you kind of reminded me of, I think, was what botched that happened between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch in a match where Trish went for that cartwheel or forward flip to the rope that she does, where she flips up on the rope, wraps the person in their in her legs off the turnbuckle, and then flips them off. And Trish tried to pull that in a match and completely missed, but it wasn't totally on her because Becky was supposed to grab her legs and Becky missed her legs, and so I remember that botch. But for me, my botch of the year, I'm giving it to Charlotte Flair's fall from the top rope, just because that one resulted in a significant injury to Charlotte Flair that's going to put her out for the majority of 2024 and cause her to miss, the Rumble, the WrestleMania, possibly even SummerSlam. So, yes, to me, that's going to be the botch of the year, just because I think while all the other ones were like, noteworthy botches or funny moments and all that stuff, Charlotte's one is genuinely impactful and going to cost the WWE one of its top women's stars for a good chunk of the year.
Yeah, didn't Braun Strowman also got injured because he was at the Rumble, and then he injured his neck really bad, and he's been out since.
Did he injure it in a botch though, or was it just?
I'm not sure. Like, because I'm not sure how the injury came about.
I don't think he did. I think it was more of a overuse kind of thing than a one specific moment kind of thing.
Well, I guess we can't count this one, but Raw, the first episode of the year, Giovanni Vinci, it was in a tag match with Kofi and Jey Uso, and he came off the top rope, and Kofi kicked him right in the face and pretty much knocked him right out, and the ref went over and put up the X symbol and immediately stopped the match.
But I just remembered a couple other botches too.
I did too.
A couple, they're coming to my mind now.
All right, Dre, go.
One that popped into my head, not a wrestling botch, but more of a production botch, was when Bianca Belair came out to the ring. Yeah, she was being introduced. I don't remember if it was at a pay-per-view or episode of SmackDown or what, but she was coming to the ring, and they had Rhea Ripley's graphics playing on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that one. I remember Rhea Ripley tweeted about it after, like, even the production team was thinking about mommy.
Oh, God.
I remember that one. I remember Samantha Irwin had a pretty significant botch. She was doing announcing. I don't remember who she was announcing. I can't remember if it was Bailey or somebody.
Bailey.
Just Bailey.
Huh?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Bailey.
Bailey. She met Nasmith representing the Judgment Day. Yep.
Yeah. Do you remember in the Rumble, the Women's Rumble, they played Nia Jax's music hitting at 30 before the countdown even started? And then then her music hits like a couple seconds go by, all the graphics are up. Then the countdown starts. Then she came out. Somebody fucked up and hit her music too early. It was way early.
Oh yeah. The Royal Rumble is probably it's like the worst time to do any kind of audio fuck ups. You know, like that's the worst time. Like throwing somebody's wrong music out, or the wrong wrestler coming out to the wrong theme music. Just or like playing somebody who's not even in the Rumble period. Like leaning on the keyboard and playing Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh fuck! Like, why was that button even there? I mean, this shit happens. Doyle, do you have any more?
No, those were all that I could think of. The Bailey thing and then the Nia Jax thing came to me just now while I was thinking of it.
I like it. It jogged our memories here real quick.
Yeah.
We've realized, kind of turn the wheels back, like how much shit has happened this year, storyline wise, with a lot of these characters. So let me see. Ooh, man, we're getting to some juicier stuff here. What is one of the most impactful things that kind of happened this year? That could be like within the company itself as a whole, maybe from a business point of view, maybe a numbers point of view, maybe something to do with fans or clothing or catchphrases or stuff that became very impactful for the company this year. For me, WWE merging with TKO, that's probably the biggest thing for that company to happen this year. And it was weird because listening to last year's episode, how we talked about, oh, thank God Vince isn't gonna be around anymore. I fucking laughed at myself. I was like, oh, you dumb ass. I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, Vince is never leaving. He's gonna be here forever. You think he's gone, but no. Even after the merger, the man made $9 billion, and he still got to keep his fucking job. Like, who does that? Who does that? Like,
billionaires.
Yeah, just fuck. This guy's gonna be here forever. But he doesn't
have controlling interest anymore, though.
No,
I mean,
but the signs of Triple H being in charge has definitely shown over the year. Especially,
and honestly, even since then, TKO has kind of realized, okay, keeping this guys around is a bit more problematic than we thought, and they've been quietly, pushing him out since then.
Yeah, that's right. He did have a lot of legal issues this year. It sucks to me, Vince. We got something that doesn't happen very often. We got new titles this year. They merged Roman Reigns' 2 titles. We got a new world title. The women got new titles.
You still got those ugly ass tag titles and that awful IC belt.
I keep hearing
There's still no mid card titles for the women.
Yeah, I keep hearing rumors about the tag titles being either split up and new titles coming out. I was like, can you just fucking do it already? Like,
speaking of titles, did you guys see that there was something on TikTok or some shit where Logan Paul traded the U.S. title and like a case of Prime for Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl ring?
Yeah, some shit he did with Patrick Mahomes that doesn't involve him wrestling, even though everybody thought, oh, he's one of U.S. champion, he's going to be full time now. Yeah, how's that working out for you, motherfuckers?
But it does involve eyes on the product because Logan Paul's wrestling. I got to see this. So
that is true. That was the one thing I was worried about when this man becomes champion. Is like, okay, like he's gonna be another part-time champion on SmackDown that's gonna be missing. Right?
He's going to defend the title at the Rumble. He's going to defend it at Elimination Chamber, and then he'll lose it at WrestleMania at LA Knight. There's your next 3 months. He's going to defend it twice and then lose it.
This guy.
I'd be surprised if he defended it at Elimination Chamber, honestly.
Oh no, he's already said he's definitely going to that.
Well, yeah, I guess it's Australia. I'm pretty sure they made him do that. Like, all right, you got to defend it at Australia. He'll probably do it in some match with multiple people. I don't think that one will be a one-on-one. But we're getting sidetracked anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, also that happened at the very beginning of the year was the Raw 30 that we even went to. Me and Doyle, and it was great. I got to see The Undertaker, we got to see DX, we got to see Kurt Angle, we got to see the Hulkster brother. Bray Wyatt was there, which was good to see Bray Wyatt one last time. It was a really good moment for me, being there and seeing all those guys. So Raw 30 was a big one. And NXT this year, we had a lot of big names go down to NXT. I mean, I know they're not there to stay. Like Baron Corbin has gone down and he has stayed down there. I think it's best for him right now. But we've had people coming in and out. We've had Judgment Day kind of sticking their foot in just about everywhere this year and on every roster. So I kind of like that. With Dom, with the North American title, he got to do some work on NXT. He got to hold a lower tier title and still be relevant, with the Judgment Day on the main roster. And then we had, John Cena on NXT. We had The Undertaker. We had CM Punk. And those were just big names on that show. I never thought I'd see CM Punk and Undertaker in the ring at NXT. No way. If you would have asked me that last year, I would have been like, yeah, okay. Okay, wait, what's next? John Cena gonna show up at NXT? What? No. And the whole Bloodline storyline this year with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, their whole story with the Bloodline, I mean, that was very impactful throughout the whole year. Anything involving the Bloodline, basically. But like I said, with Judgment Day, they made a huge impact on the roster this year. Just seems like less of Vince in a lot of this. The company is slightly changing for the good. Now that they've merged, I just pray to God we don't get merchandise ads in the middle of the ring. For the love of God, that's all I have.
We're absolutely getting that 100%.
Yes.
Don't fuck.
That's just going to look like that. WWE ring will look like a boxing ring
100%.
by 2025.
I know. And this is what I have to say to that.
Go fuck yourself.
Because I don't want that. I don't want that. But
Yeah, you're gonna get more cinnamon toast crunch matches, and it's even ads just on the ringside graphics, during matches.
Yep.
Yawn.
Yep.
Fuck.
More goofy, tie-in promos.
Yep.
I miss the days when we just had
Just you wait till you get that Hot Cheetos Inferno match.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
I miss the days when we just had Slim Jim and Stacker 2 commercials. That's fuck. But I'm getting sidetracked. Trace, maybe you can jog my memory too. This is another one of those situations where I think we're going to jog our memories and get some good quality stuff here. What is some impactful stuff that kind of stuck out for you for this year for the company? Or wrestling as a whole?
I'm about to say, as far as moments that were impactful, I didn't really focus too much on thinking of a bunch of moments that are impactful. Honestly, you kind of jogged my memory with some of these ones that you mentioned. Really, it's just thought about the one that, among all the impactful moments, the one that just kind of stood out to me the most, and that I thought really had a long-lasting effect throughout the year. And for me, my most impactful moment of the year was Sami Zayn turning on Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. I thought that was the most impactful moment because that moment, one, happened at the very beginning of the year at the Rumble, and it set the tone, or pretty much set the story of the Bloodline for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah,
that moment pretty much signaled the beginning of the end for the Bloodline. Absolutely. Even though the Bloodline still technically exists, if you think about what the Bloodline was at the beginning of the year, Roman was the champ. Usos were tag team champions. Sami Zayn is as hot as can be. Solo Sikoa is a wrecking machine who had not lost yet. And they were dominating wrestling. Every time they showed up, it was a moment. You look at where the Bloodline is now. Yeah, Roman's still champ, but he's, a lot of the luster is gone. Solo is more or less treading water. He seems poised to be the next one. And, you could argue that he's risen his stock a bit, having beat the living dog shit out of John Cena and talking a little bit and all that stuff. But so, he's one that's elevated himself. Jimmy is still in the Bloodline, but again, in my opinion, he's kind of almost functioning more as almost comedy relief, it seems, to a certain extent, in the Bloodline, rather than being the, legitimate threat that he was at the beginning of the year. Jay's not even in the Bloodline anymore. He's over on Raw and is one of their breakout stars on Raw and becoming one of the top faces. So yeah, the Bloodline is all in a completely different place. Like they've broken apart to a great extent. And it all started with Sami Zayn turning on Roman. That was the first major crack that formed in the Bloodline.
I like.
And it's played out throughout the remainder of the year. Sami Zayn turning on Roman is what kind of, you could argue, gave Jimmy and Jay from his actions since then and his crusade against them, gave them the courage to eventually break. That set the tone for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to reunite and ultimately defeat the Usos at WrestleMania to become tag champions, which in turn led to Roman becoming, more irate, more unstable, yada, yada, more aggressive, more abusive, which turned into Jay turning on Roman, Jimmy turning on Roman, Bloodline Civil War, and all that stuff. It all started with a chair shot to the back because Sammy wouldn't swing on his boy. So to me, that's the most impactful moment of the year. Speaking just pure wrestling. Obviously,
no, I like that.
Like you mentioned, like non-wrestling perspective, then you could say, yeah, certainly the, WWE UFC merger into TKO Holdings. Although that's something that's noteworthy and it's impactful, we haven't really seen a lot of impact from that yet as far as the product.
Right.
Also, the impact that we've seen from that has been, just on the surface, namesake stuff, and maybe TKO Holdings quietly pushing Vince out finally after realizing just how toxic that guy probably is to this new company that has a different level of accountability.
True that. Doyle, what do you got, man?
I hadn't even considered that, and that was very well said. And I think in any other year, that would absolutely be the most impactful moment, that chair shot. But can there be any other answer than the sale? I mean, this is the biggest story in 20 years. This since Vince bought WCW, this is the biggest story in wrestling. And yeah, we might not have seen all that many changes just yet. They are happening. I mean, how many executives got laid off? Kevin Dunn is leaving. Like, who knows what's that? I mean, and while they didn't fire him, apparently his whole deal was he had a boss now, whereas before he pretty much didn't. He had somebody telling him what to do, and he didn't want to. He's got more money than God at this point anyway. Right. So he just said, "Hell with it, I'm done." But I mean, we already talked about things like ads on the canvas itself. I think we're absolutely 100% going to start seeing co-branded UFC, WWE events, whether it's WWF or Jesus Christ. It's like the fourth time I've done that. WWE.
Sir, it is 2024, not 1994. That's what it is. You planted that seed in him with that damn song. That's why he keeps bringing up WWF.
Yeah. But I think we're certainly going to see a co-branded event with them and UFC, whether it's one going Saturday, one going Sunday, or even fucking a wrestling card, and then the main event is UFC heavyweight title fight, something like that. But there's going to be good things too. I think we're going to have less McMahon cringe, like kind of humor, hopefully. So yeah, I mean, this isn't just a fault line. This is a Grand Canyon, and in 10, 20 years, we're going to look back, and this is just going to be a seismic, a thing that we're going to talk about before the merger and after the merger. Right. And it's tough to kind of see that now, but I guarantee this is just going to continue to build and build and build and build and build.
Oh yeah, just wait till you see Logan Paul and Conor McGregor tag team champions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm. When John Bones Jones enters the Royal Rumble.
All right. Well, along with most impactful, we'll roll right into shocking moment of the year. Is there a moment that really caught you off guard? I mean, that's going to kind of roll into maybe comebacks of the year. So, Dre, what'd you have for your most shocking moments of 2023? Like, what stuff that just really made you either mark out or like you were just happy to finally see come to tuition?
For me, shocking moment of the year, it's really one that stands above all because it's the moment that most people thought was never going to happen. Oh, excuse me. And for me, it's the return of CM Punk to WWE. Even with as much as people tried to speculate about it, we know Survivor Series is in Chicago, CM Punk's in Chicago, and all that stuff. Up until the moment that it happened, it still felt like just wishful thinking on the part of CM Punk fans. It just felt like they were just trying to will it into happening, not something that legitimately was possible. And WWE just masterfully played it all the way up until the, 11:59 and 59 seconds. And then
they really did. That was beautifully done.
Right. So much so that they literally just had the end graphics on the screen before it hit. So yeah, it completely caught everybody off guard. That's why I got such a massive pop that it did.
Right.
So to me, yeah, that's hands down the most. And so much so that I'm not even a huge CM Punk fan like that. Like, I'm not a hater, but I'm not a huge fan of his either. And I in no way, shape, or form thought he was going to show up. And yet that music hit, and I marked out for a moment like, holy shit, it actually happened. So, yeah, with that one, it's pretty easy for me. Shocking moment of the year, the return of CM Punk to WWE.
You fucking mark!
Dude, I I have to fucking agree with you because that shit caught me off guard. Like, me being as big of a CM Punk fan as I was, I was just in denial for so many years. Just like, nope, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like, and, you know, I understand that bridges have been rebuilt and mended in the past with other wrestlers we never thought we'd see in the company ever again. Ever. But I just thought he was just that bitter to, like, I'm never going to come back. Like, I don't know. I mean, think about a job that you used to have that you fucking quit on, that you just, like, walked out on, and you're just like, I'm done with this fucking place. Now imagine, like, trying to go back to that place. Like, I don't know. It's not the same. You know, the analogy is not the same, but it's just, I just never thought in a million years he would come back. So, yeah, when his music hit, and like you said, dude, it was put together so perfectly. Like, Randy Orton had his moment. Everybody had, the team had their moment, the winning team. You know, so much happened within that, like, you know, couple minutes. And just everybody's like, oh, let's get ready to go home. And you know, I grabbed the remote. I'm getting ready to, I'm done. And then, like, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I fucking marked.
Fucking mark!
Yep, that was me. Also, dude, like, when KO and Slammy reunited, I was so happy. You know, that kind of, it just took forever. I guess it was just like a really long burn, and we kind of saw it coming, but when it finally happened, it was put together so nicely. I guess, I mean, Doyle, what else you got? Maybe jog the old memory.
I mean, what else could there be but CM Punk? You know, and never in 100,000 years thought we would see him back. You know, yeah, even these guys said it. Even with the rumors swirling around, they played it fucking perfectly. You know, putting the Chiron up, the show was fucking over, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. You know, and they really one of the things, and I think one of the changes that we've kind of started to see is the use of social media, right? And that was a perfect example. They immediately had that online. You got millions of views, right? Mm-hmm. But this whole secondary market, if you will, of reaction videos to people seeing the thing, right? You know, people at parties going crazy. I saw one guy throwing a hissy fit. Fuck this company. I'm never watching this shit again. I thought CM Punk was coming. I'm fucking done with this shit. And he you know, smashes the TV and goes in the other room and slams the door. And then you hear, you know. So there was a whole subgenre of reaction videos to that. It's, you know, got the whole wrestling world talking. And the guy hasn't even wrestled on TV anyway yet. I mean,
you could argue. I was gonna say you could argue that's probably the most viral moment WWE has had in years.
I agree.
Whatever you think about him, he gets fucking eyeballs.
Yep. I mean, this guy.
Like I said, I think
in the same year, he is able to sell his merch right now, actually, on WWE Shop and on Pro Wrestling Tees. He was the #1 selling merch guy on Pro Wrestling Tees. And I bet his merch is selling out, too, on WWE Shop. Yeah, he's probably doing very well right now financially. Let's roll this into, I guess, right into comebacks of the year. You know, obviously, I guess it's hands down CM Punk probably the best comeback of the year, but also, you know, a lot of notable mentions. Randy Orton, another big, you know, comeback this year. He was out for 18 months, right? I mean, that was, holy shit, that was a while. Kairi Sane coming back to the company. That was pretty big. We saw John Cena come back. We saw The Rock come back. It was nice to see some of these people back on TV. I'm trying to think who else here is. Dre jog my memory. What are some of your favorite comebacks of this year? Returns.
I'll say honestly, you've kind of mentioned the most noteworthy ones that that I had on my list. I mean, you left off a very big glaring one that you left out, and that's the fucking return of R-Truth.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh my god, how could I forget?
Right, the biggest return of the Survivor Series. But yeah, let's not talk about that one.
What's up?
Yeah, but I'm like I say, obviously, yeah, the comeback of the year pretty much coincides with shocking moment of the year for me. It's CM Punk. Like, because again, for all the reasons that we said already, you didn't think it was going to happen. Even I don't think even the most ardent of CM Punk supporters and fans thought that it was actually going to happen. And yet it did. So, I mean, yeah, it completely stole all the thunder from Randy Orton. Like, you could argue Randy Orton might have had comeback of the year were it not for CM Punk. And instead, he just had a moment on the show as opposed to, yeah, he just had a moment on the show as opposed to the moment of the show.
Right.
Yeah, my honorable mentions is The Rock returning on SmackDown in Denver back in September. That was a awesome moment. It's always great seeing The Rock when he pops back up, especially because they know exactly how to get the most bang for their buck out of each moment. The way they just, lined it up perfectly, put Austin Theory in there talking all that shit to Pat McAfee, who's already, over with the fans. And then they set it up so perfectly. It was like, where Pat's talking to him, he's like, "You're in the people's house. Do you know what that means?" And everybody's like, "Hold up." And then the music hits, and yeah, it's a great fucking moment. It was awesome. My other honorable mention was John Cena returning to the WWE during the writer's strike, the writer/Screen Actors Guild strike. And that's especially noteworthy because it wasn't, unlike The Rock's, it wasn't just a one-time appearance. Like, John Cena came back and gave us a genuine run for, about a good month or two of appearances. So, that's especially...
Yeah.
That's especially noteworthy because, obviously he could have just been at the crib chilling.
Yeah,
and just
I absolutely value the time that he puts in now, considering how busy of a man he is. Like for any John Cena fans, like, take this now because, like, that motherfucker is just one day, he's just not going to be able to do it no more. So,
you got to appreciate that because, like I said, he did not have to do that. He could have just been at the crib chilling. And just, or maybe just popped up one time and just like, all right, yeah, I'm going to make an appearance on this episode. Then I'm going to go back to the crib and chill. But like, nah, he actually put in some time.
Yeah.
Showed up on a couple of episodes of SmackDown. Even bothered to show up on NXT.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, certainly, if CM Punk is my number one, then I would, honestly, John Cena would be my number two for comeback of the year.
Yeah. I mean,
did anybody mention Cody Rhodes? Because his year started coming back from the pec thing. And went
well, I don't know. Like,
he did technically come back at the Rumble.
It seemed like a foregone conclusion, but
yeah, like I thought the same with Bianca Belair. Bianca was only out for like a handful of months, and then she was back. So
her comeback wasn't. She did come back, but it wasn't really that noteworthy.
Yeah,
she's just like, okay, she's back, but they didn't put a whole lot of build up behind it because I don't even remember. She didn't come back did she even come back at a PLE or was it just an episode of SmackDown?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Which now that I think about, it's kind of shameful that they didn't really treat her coming back as a big deal. It was just like, oh, Bianca's back. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, that's just what happens when you lose that momentum after losing your title. Then you take some time off. It's just like, oh yeah.
I think that's part of it too, because everybody knew she was just taking time off. Like,
it wasn't.
They kind of wrote her off TV, but it wasn't like she was out because she was legitimately injured or legitimately hurt or anything like that.
Yeah,
everybody knew she had been going hard for the company all year, and she just earned herself some good vacation time.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, these wrestlers need to. Like, you need a gimmick to cool off, because if a gimmick or a certain person doesn't cool off and they're being shoved in your face every week, you're just gonna fucking hate them. You're just gonna hate them. So it's good to take somebody like Bianca, who some people would say at that time, like towards the end of her run, was getting kind of stale. And, you know, it was nice to see her step away for a while, recharge her batteries, cool down for a bit, come back, and she's just like, you know what I mean? She's still peak. She's still main event Bianca. So nothing's changed for me with her. She's still the badass that she's always been, even without the damn title. Like, dude, there's so many matches. Like, I really want to see her and Jade Cargill go at it. Like, that's some.
We'll see that, but I hope not. I hope not.
Don't rush it.
No, I know.
I hope
let
that's
it build
down the road.
Yeah, let it build.
Don't AEW that shit and immediately go there.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
I think that's gonna build.
Yeah. You know what? I guess I could put this as shocking moment.
We already did that.
I know,
Yeah, we did.
I know, we did, but I kind of looking back at it here on my paperwork, like I should have qualified it as a shocking moment. But I guess for all of us this year was the wrestlers that we lost. We lost a lot of wrestlers this year.
Always.
And probably the biggest notable one was Bray Wyatt. You know, we did a full episode on it, so if you want to listen to us give our thoughts on losing, you know, Bray Wyatt, obviously it was terrible, but we did a whole episode about it. So we don't have that many episodes. It's not that far to dig back. But yeah, the stunning death of Bray Wyatt. So I put that as a very shocking moment. Not all shocking moments are good moments. So.
I mean, who else? Terry Funk. I mean,
Yeah.
Jay Briscoe, the Iron Sheik, superstar Billy Graham.
Yep, Billy Graham.
One of the Bushwhackers died. Butch, I think. Draws. Oh, fucking Randy's brother, Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Jarrett's dad, Jerry Jarrett, promoter, he died. Who else? I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
That's enough to be terrible. You know, that's very terrible. That's a huge list. And it's sad, but it's gonna happen again this year. And you know, I'm always like the Grim Reaper. So I like always hanging out with Ric Flair. You know, just that man is still alive. That man is still alive. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you guys why you're wrong. Yeah, I mean, for me, there's only two choices, right? They both happen within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah,
so is it Punk or is it Randy, right? But it's also comeback of the year. And last time I checked, Pepsi Phil ain't wrestled yet. At least not on TV, anyway.
Yeah.
But Randall Keith sure has. So I'm going with the Rand Man.
Oh.
You know,
so in your mind, they don't come back until they wrestle on TV.
Yeah.
This guy.
I mean,
valid point.
I knew he was coming. I was happier to see him. So sure, am I biased a little bit? But he's already working, and Punk ain't.
He's like, oh, cool, you're here. When are you gonna get back to work? You
Yeah.
Get back to work yet? I'm not gonna acknowledge you until you get back to work. Oh man. No, that's cool. It's cool. You're right, dude. Back to back, same pay-per-view. Oh, and we had R-Truth that episode. I mean, damn, all three.
Yeah, that was a big one.
The episode of Returns. Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
You're just still glossing over the truth. Still glossing over our truth.
Dude, I was very happy when I saw R-Truth, for your information.
And they're giving him stuff to do, which is great.
They are giving him stuff to do, and he's
right. He's done the most work out of the three since
funny.
coming back.
And he's funny. He's always funny, but they're letting him be funny and be consequential.
Yes,
which is a nice change.
He just recently did a tag match with The Miz. Like,
yeah, Awesome Truth.
Awesome Truth, yep. Dude. Like, dude, at one point, Awesome Truth faced John Cena and The Rock as in a tag match at Survivor Series. Like, that was a thing. Like, oh my gosh. That's an interesting match to go back to. All right, moving right along here. Breakout star of the year. Breakout star for let's see. For me, it's pretty obvious. It's LA Knight.
I knew you were going to pick LA Knight. I knew it.
You knew it. Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah, dude. How could it not be like a huge rising star this year? You know, along with like Solo Sikoa was another big one for me. I think his stock rose a lot this year. Jey Uso for me as well, as now as a singles competitor, I take him a hell of a lot more serious, especially more than Jimmy right now. You know, still I still have mad respect for Sammy, even though he wasn't able to capture the title. You know, even though Sammy's been around for a while, I still consider it a breakout this year, as his character just grew so much this year. But yeah, dude, it's LA Knight. I mean, Io had a great year as well, but at the end of the day, for me, it's LA Knight. It's such a rising stock within 2 years of this company. Guy goes from, you know, a manager to, you know, main eventing a pay-per-view with Roman Reigns to having top merch sales and all the catchphrases, you know, this year. Just, I hear them everywhere. I hear it everywhere I go. And I think about it everywhere I go. You know, I can't not think about it. So, Dre, who do you have for like breakout star of the year? You know, there's probably a couple people in NXT we could probably notably bring up even, but who stands out for you?
Well, you know what, Tops? Yeah.
What's that?
Yeet.
Oh, dude. Yes, I need a yeet button on here. I do need a yeet
My
button
breakout star of the year is, for me, it's actually a tie.
Yeah.
I could not choose one over the other. So for me, it's a tie between main event Jey Uso and somebody that I'm surprised you did not mention, unless I missed it. Fucking Dirty Dominic Mysterio, man.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Come on.
I should have also picked Gunther. That was another good one I should have picked. But, dude, you're absolutely right.
Fucking Dirty Dom. Like, Jey Uso, for one. Granted, he's been obviously he had the main event moniker before this year, but he's always still just been a tag teamer, a part of, you know, the Usos, only momentarily stepping out as a single star when Jimmy was injured. Right. This year, however, Jey Uso truly stepped out on his own and really solidified himself as somebody who can hang with the top of the WWE roster. You know, and not just in terms of his work in the ring, but has his own stuff that solidifies him as an individual. Mm-hmm. And it's been one of the best things that's happened, you know, in this year, is the Usos splitting up and really starting to establish themselves as individuals. It's happened much more so on Jay's end because he's truly on his own on SmackDown, whereas Jimmy is still connected with the bloodline Jay stepped out on Raw. Yeah. I'm sorry, just thinking about his blue gear made SmackDown come to my mind. But yeah, Jimmy is still connected with the bloodline on SmackDown, so he hasn't broken out as much as Jay has. Whereas Jay, he's over there on Raw. His music hits, the crowd pops. He's got the crowd waving. He's got merch that's, not just a shirt. It's a shirt that's moving, from Yeet, and even making headlines because some other, random fucking West Virginia owned the copyrights to some shit that everybody fucking says. So much so that they made another Yeet shirt, but it's blurred. And then eventually coughed up the money to get Yeet back because, this shit's actually making money for us. And we're not about to let this money, we're not about to lose this money because of some random fucking West Virginia. That all speaks to Jay doing his thing, even winning the tag titles with Cody. You know, yeah, it was the tag titles again, but it was two top faces of the company. He was getting that number one babyface rub to a certain extent from Cody Rhodes, and them doing that. And again, had a world title match with Seth Rollins, and it was a great match. So yeah, he's absolutely broken out like a motherfucker this year. And you could easily say nobody would be surprised if they saw Jey Uso World Heavyweight Champion in 2024.
Dude, yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, you've got arguably the MVP of WWE in 2023, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, the guy who started this year in the Judgment Day, feuding with his dad at WrestleMania in a match that everybody pretty much knew, all right, daddy gonna whoop his ass. And people just hated him because he had much more go-away heat in the beginning of the year. It was just like people just wanted to see him get his ass kicked. Nobody was really cared about him or invested in his character. And since then, he has grown into being one of the top heels in the company. It's granted you could argue whether people are booing him out of the building every time he talks because it's just the thing to do now. Like when somebody talks at a certain cadence and everybody breaks out the what. But the fact that they still do it to him and still do it with as much enthusiasm now that they did, earlier in 2023, just shows how much people are still invested in him and his character. And he's been an absolute grinder this year, working tons of matches on, Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, even sometimes in the same week, being on all three shows. And you could argue that he, along with Rhea Ripley, those two have done more work to make Judgment Day a top heel faction in WWE than anybody else in that group.
Yeah, I mean,
because Finn and Damian Priest are obviously like the bigger names per se, in terms of like they're the ones winning the significant accolades in terms of the tag titles, Money in the Bank. They're the ones usually getting the matches with the top faces and stuff. But in terms of the ones who are doing the work and really getting that faction over and invested in by the fans, man, that was all Dirty Dom, along with Mommy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a thing about all the other stables that are out there. Even in the past, they claim they're the best stable in all of WWE. Well, I mean, you have multiple rosters. You never truly know, but these guys are going, like you said, to other rosters and basically establishing their dominance across the board. It's like, nah, we're not just going to stay on SmackDown. We're going to let you know we are dominant everywhere. Everywhere we go, we're going to cause mayhem and destruction. I absolutely agree, dude, with Dirty Dom and Jey Uso. I would even, it's kind of hard to breakout star sometimes gets really close to like one of my like wrestlers of the year, so I'll just put that in a different category. But it's just
and let's not forget, Dirty Dom also moved the needle.
Yeah, he did. Like
legitimately moved the needle. Episodes of NXT where he appeared, they saw spikes in numbers and ratings on episodes where Dominic Mysterio was there. His segments by themselves within the show saw spikes when he was on air in NXT. So, yeah, he broke out like a mug.
Doyle, who do you have that broke out maybe as much as a teenager on prom night?
A couple honorable mentions. And my last WWE person I want to talk about, Vikingo. If you haven't seen this guy, go find. I can't put him as one of the best wrestlers of the year because his matches aren't that great. Go find a highlight reel. That's all you need to see. This guy does shit you have never seen. It's unbelievable. That's all I can really say. This guy was fucking everywhere this year. But in terms of the main roster of the WWE, I can't go any NXT people because they haven't broken out yet.
Yeah.
But I would definitely look at LA Knight, Jey Uso, Zoe Stark, Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee, and maybe probably not around quite long enough, but the Creed brothers probably next year, we will say, breakout stars for them. But this was a fucking no-brainer for me. I mean, technically, it was Christmas Eve of 2022 that Dominic Mysterio was arrested, but it wasn't until the January 2nd episode of Raw that Prison Dom was born. And man,
Speak on it.
that kid took the fucking football and did he run with it, man. I mean, the perfect mix of just fucking ridiculous while playing it straight as an arrow was just, chef kiss. I mean, he's getting booed out of fucking buildings everywhere he goes. And I think I spent half the first half of the kind of singing his praises, but saying that his in-ring work really needed to catch up with his, promo work and his character work. But I think it largely has. He had a great run with that NXT title he had. What was it, North American
title?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's held that title twice already.
Dre, you mentioned it. He's actually number 2 in matches in 2023 with 106. Oh, you want to know the rest of the top 10? Oh, I'm glad you do. Here it is. Cody was number 1 with 113. Seth had 105. Priest had 100. Theory and LA Knight had 98. Gunther had 96. Ludwig Kaiser had, I can't read my writing, 98. Sammy had 94. And Finn had 90. But anyway, so they got him out there. They got him working. They got him reps. And he's not Will Ospreay, but you know what? He's one of the most improved guys or gal on the roster. And how does he end the year? By working with Punk in his first couple matches on this holiday tour they just did. Yeah. And there's still room for improvement. And I'm really excited. I mean, I think he's going to maybe as soon as next year, probably not next year, but maybe in 2 years, 3 years, might be vying for male superstar of the year. I think this kid, if he keeps his head on right, he doesn't get hurt, whatever, everything, a lot of things have to continue to go right. But the kid, it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. He's not a moron. And he grew up in the business, so he's got an innate thing that's just going to be years ahead of anybody else anyway. Bianca's an amazing athlete, but she was doing CrossFit or whatever. She hasn't been living and breathing this business since she's fucking 5 years old. You know what I mean? There's just something he's going to always have over anybody else. I think he needs to put a little styes on still. But he's got all the tools, man. I think we're probably looking at a future world champion in this kid. He's going to be around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you want to talk about somebody whose evolution is going to be must see over the next couple of years, you'd be hard pressed to think of anybody other than Dominic Mysterio.
Yep.
You look at where he is now, and think about how much fans are booing the shit out of him. Whether they're doing it because they genuinely hate him or they're just doing it because it's the thing to do and it's fun to boo the crap out of him. Imagine what's going to happen when those boos start to turn to cheers.
Yep, when he reconciles with Ray or something.
Whether he reconciles with Ray or if he happens to turn on the Judgment Day, even if he breaks on with Mommy. Say Mommy finally does get over as a true heel as opposed to this one that she's a heel that we all still love. If she goes true heel and Dom breaks from her or whatever happens, when that turn starts to happen and those boos start to turn to cheers.
Oh, he's going to be huge, baby.
Yeah. He's going to fucking watch your back, LA Knight.
Huge.
He's absolutely going to fucking blow. And like I said, the evolution, because, I don't see him, once he is going to, just across the board, the evolution in his look and his style, everything. And to your point, you mentioned that he closed out the year wrestling CM Punk. I don't think that was by coincidence or by
No,
accident.
absolutely not.
Right.
That was partially one, the company speaking to how much of their confidence in him, and probably to a certain extent how much CM Punk believes in him. That like, hey, you're the guy I want to have my opening matches with because I see your work. I see how much you've grown in this ring. I know that I can have a good match with you because
They also
Punk is maybe. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, like, you might see like how Punk is obviously the bigger star of the two in the match,
Right.
but in terms of the ring work, Dominic is carrying Punk in that match because he's the one that's fresher. You know, I'm not saying that Punk is like rusty as hell, but he has a certain level of rust on him. He hasn't wrestled in a while. You could tell his conditioning wasn't there,
Right.
and the fact that they turned to Dominic as the guy to get him through his first two matches. That says a lot to him. That says a lot to what Punk sees in him and what the company sees. More importantly, what the company sees in Dominic Mysterio. He's on his way if like you said, if he can keep his head on straight and avoid the injury bug.
Well, he's also in this super unique position where he's a super duper over heel, but he can afford to lose. So like, put up against somebody you're trying to get over as a babyface because they're going to cheer for whoever's going against Dominic because he's your biggest heel. But he's not one of these monster heels that can't lose. You know what I mean? He can lose, and it doesn't really hurt him that much. He lost to Ray at WrestleMania, and we knew he was going to lose, and we knew he was going to look like a little bitch while doing it. And guess what? How much did it hurt him? Not a lick. In fact, it got him more over. And I mean that's the sign of greatness, really. If you can come out of a loss and a loss where you look like a fucking little baby, getting slapped, getting spanked by your daddy, literally. If you can turn that and come out even more over on the other side of that, man, you got something. You got it.
Yeah. Honestly, I would not be surprised if. Now, this may be a bit of a hot take, but I would not be surprised if at this year's WrestleMania, Dominic Mysterio is involved in some sort of match for the IC Intercontinental Championship.
That's possible.
It's hot take, but I don't. Well, I ain't gonna say hot take, but like hot shot booking to per se. I don't think necessarily that the Intercontinental Championship match is going to be a one-on-one match. I could see it being some sort of, again, a triple threat or 4-man or something like that. And if it ends up being that, I could see Dominic Mysterio being one of the 3 or 4 people involved in a match over the IC title.
I could certainly see him winning the IC title or the US title in
this
the next
year.
year.
Yeah, this year, definitely.
All right, guys. Let's move on. Let's do promo of the year. Promo of the year. I just jotted down a bunch of ones that stuck out to me this year. There's some bullet points, but like I recommend you go on to YouTube and check some of these promos out. A lot of them, just the way they were delivered, or the promo artist is just doing what they do, and they're just good on the mic. It's just something to go check out. Or you have 2 guys who are really good on the mic, and you put them in the ring together, like LA Knight and The Miz. 2 guys who are good on the mic, put them in the ring together. They did a great promo. For me, promo of the year, what really stuck out to me was when Jay was in the ring with the Bloodline, telling Jimmy, I'm out, you out, I'm out, and then he super kicks, Roman. I mean, that whole promo breaking down how Jimmy was the better twin, it was such a good promo, and it's a shocking moment, and it just went together so well. You have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns talking to each other. Roman pointing out, did you ever win that belt? You ever compete for that one? talking about how his daddy Cody Rhodes' daddy raised him better than he did, let's see, what other one to add? Oh, Gunther put on some good promos, especially after defeating Chad Gable. The man stood on a table just basically saying, like, nobody is going to stop me. Nobody. And thus far, he's held to that. We all, when Adam Copeland, came back to wrestling. He was in AEW, and he cut a promo, and Christian was in there, and that's how we got the infamous
Go fuck yourself
moment. It went from Christian just stayed a heel. It didn't turn. You thought there might be a turning moment for Christian, but no, he did not see the light. But I'm sure you guys are going to jog my memory with a bunch of other promos. Dre, what kind of promos this year that you liked? I guess I should bring out like the CM Punk pipe bomb, like when his night bag is probably another large one to remember and to go watch, and anything that the Rock, I guess, has done, or John Cena and Austin Theory. Sorry, I just like a bunch of this just like jogged my memory before I moved on. But yeah, Dre, what other ones?
Yeah, you've mentioned some of the promos that I already thought of that I was already going to bring up as far as the honorable mention was, like the Jade and Jimmy Uso promo where he talked all that stuff about I was looking up to you, I was trying to be like you, and all that, and you out, and guess what, I'm out too. Yeet, super kick to Roman's face. That was a standout one. The one between is it what?
You said yeet before he kicked him. Yeet. And I know damn well he did not say yeet. You ad-libbed.
No, he didn't say yeet. But anybody who truly knows the power of yeet knows yeet can be applied in a multitude of situations. But also the one you mentioned also, John Cena and Austin Theory, that promo they had going into WrestleMania where Cena just basically tore Austin Theory, tore him down. That was one of Cena's best promos in a good while. Other one I would bring up, excuse me. Other honorable mentions I would have outside of those aren't really necessarily promos, but just lines that really stuck out to me this year. One you've played multiple times throughout this episode, and that was Christian Cage to Adam Copeland's "Go fuck yourself." That was just like it was the perfect singular response to this long, passionate promo that Adam Copeland's giving to Christian about, remember this and that, and I was kids and yada yada. Let's get the game back together. Let's do a thing again. And Christian is like, "Go fuck yourself," and walks off.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was a perfect response, a perfect heel response to just shit on everything and piss on all the fans' hopes of getting an Edge and Christian reunion. It's like, nah, go fuck yourself. Another line that really stuck out to me is just another line that stuck out was, Randy Orton returning and talking to Mommy, Mommy fucking get my shit together. Rhea Ripley. With him talking to Rhea Ripley.
You're saying it now. You look at her and you're just like, yes, Mommy.
Yeah, he's talking to her and, she's talking about Mommy and all this. He's like, well, guess what? Daddy's home. That was a fucking bar. And I'm glad that he hasn't milked that too much, because you can only get so much mileage out of a line like that. It was perfect for that moment, but, you can't be saying Daddy's home in March. Like, motherfucker, you been back for a while. Sit down. But that was another noteworthy one. One of the best lines I heard this year, just singular lines, came from Becky Lynch when she was in her feud with Nia Jax and tearing on to her. And the line was, and I quote, Becky Lynch said, when talking about Nia Jax, I went on the main event WrestleMania. She went on to have double ACL surgery because Nia is a woman so unlikable that even her own knees won't stand up for her.
Yep. That's
Damn!
Right.
Fucking
Dropped the bomb on her. I was like, shit.
Yeah, that was
like,
yo,
you gotta fight her for real for that one, because damn. That shit was a bar. But overall, my promo of the year excuse me, would be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, the promo they cut on the March 3rd episode of SmackDown, the one you referenced, Wayne, about going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, right.
I went back and watched that promo, and that was Roman Reigns at his peak. That was him at his absolute best in that ring of just, I am the fucking shit. I am up here, and all the rest of you motherfuckers are down here.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely standing excuse me, in his dominant position as the tribal chief. When he said that line to Cody of, have you ever challenged for this one? Or, damn, excuse me. But let me ask you again. Have you ever even wrestled for this one? Mm-hmm. Have you ever been in a main event? I mean, that shit he was saying to Cody. Sorry, but that shit he was saying to Cody was just absolutely destroying Cody. And going back and watching that promo, I don't know how the hell I thought Cody was going to win. God damn it. Because, again, like I said, when Roman's cutting that promo, you can clearly see the difference in level of where Cody's at. Even as hot as Cody was in that moment, in riding that wave and the whole story thing, Roman just cut that promo so confidently, so smoothly, so effortlessly that he really just made himself look superior to Cody in damn near every way. And for as much passion, fuck, excuse me.
Good God, y'all.
Do you need a tag?
Yeah, forgive me. I had COVID last week, so I'm still, I got that lingering cough from it. But Cody did everything he could coming back in that promo, trying to, talk about his passion and be as enthusiastic as he could be, because Roman in his promo, he talked about Dusty, and Dusty taught me everything, and we talked and all this stuff and about this, that, and third, and you know what he used to say about you? Nothing.
Yeah.
We never. Right, that was a fucking lie. It was like, we never talked about you. It was just like, and you just see him just tearing down Cody, and it's like, fuck, Cody, you need to swing on this man. This man is just killing you right now. And and finished him off with that line of like, anything, and don't worry, anything your daddy didn't teach you, don't worry, I'm gonna teach you. Like, god damn. And like I said, bless Cody's heart, because he tried his best to come back from that. From that promo, and talk about I see now that I have to prove that I matter, and this, that, and third, and made it basically about him. And his response to Roman was like, I'm sorry, Cody. Your promo, you got the fire and the passion and all that stuff, but your shit just ain't hitting like what Roman just hit you with. Well, for me, that was my promo of the year, because Roman, like I said, was fully in his bag in that moment. And remind you, this is a guy that people used to say sucked on the mic.
Yeah.
People used to say Roman was not that great on the mic.
Oh yeah.
And yet he got to that point in that promo.
Yeah. Doyle, what do you got, man?
I got a couple other ones you guys haven't mentioned. This one was really simple, but Sammy, right before the Elimination Chamber, when it was just basically the crowd cheered for like It seemed like 20 minutes.
Is that
And he
what
just said
spoke French?
he said like 3 sentences. He spoke a little French Canadian, and that was. And it was just like, fuck yeah!
Yeah. Like, I forget what he said in French, but yeah, like, the crowd went fucking nuts. Like, I don't know, there was just so much emotion wrapped up in his promo.
I mean, it just
and
like...
I didn't understand a lick of French, but I was like,
Yeah.
wee! Like, I was, like, in it.
Like, let's fucking go! Like, yeah. There was a great promo with Heyman and Cody, in the lead up to WrestleMania. Also, of course, about Dusty, and how Heyman had brought him into ECW or something for like one match for something or what. I don't really remember. But it was a great, making up for lack of Roman actually being there. The first time Shinsuke did the promo with the subtitles, I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. And then, of course, they overdid the fuck out of it, and now it annoys the shit out of me. But the first time, it was badass as fuck, I thought. And then Shotzi, when she shaved her head, I thought that was great. And then you find out her sister had cancer. So she was doing one of those, head shave and solidarity kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
Really touching thing. But unfortunately, that never really led anywhere. So you can't get that excited about something that didn't go anywhere. But I thought in the moment that was pretty cool. But none of you mentioned my promo of the year. It's from the September 4th episode of Raw. And when I saw it, I said, oh, my God, that segment was the promo of the year. I can't imagine anything's going to come better than that. And nothing did. And I really think that, as much as I sing this guy's praises every chance I get, I really think like in 10, 15 years, whatever, they're making a documentary about this wrestler's career. I think this is going to be a moment they talk about. My promo of the year is The Miz interviewing and then fighting an invisible John Cena. Just absolutely fucking brilliant. From the cameraman following Invisible John Cena around, to the Miz just playing it straight as a fucking arrow at first. Anyway, he had the crowd in the palm of his hand.
Right.
He got a holy shit chant during a promo. And then he drops all the silly. He cuts a badass promo on LA Knight. It's just a fucking brilliant segment. And it just shows how fucking awesome, no pun intended, The Miz is. It's just a fucking brilliant segment.
Alright. That's fucking awesome. I totally forgot about that.
Another one I want to give a shout out to. It's not really a promo or a bar per se, but it is a moment that was a real standout moment in 2023.
What's up?
And for me, that is, excuse me. Fuck me. Zelina Vega at Backlash. Before the match and after the match, when the crowd gave that chant of Yo soy boricua, pa que tú lo sepas to her, that was one of my favorite moments. And like I said, I don't know of another category to fit it into, so I'm going to throw it here in promo of the year. But that chanting in that moment, and you could see how much it truly meant to her to want to be performing in Puerto Rico, in front of her people, and then them embracing her and giving her that moment in that chant. Excuse me. Again, one of my favorite moments of the year, and one of the few moments in the year that genuinely made me emotional.
Right.
Watching. Again, seeing her and decked out in the awesome ring gear with the Puerto Rican flag and all that stuff. And they're just giving her all their love and all that chanting. And like I said, and she's just taking it all in. You can see how much it's resonating with her. Fucking phenomenal.
I remember praising Rhea Ripley in the moment also because she knew to just get out of there. You know what I mean? She didn't hang around and try to get the heat back on her or whatever. She saw what was happening and just hightailed it out of there and let that happen. And that, props to her for that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. She let her have that moment even in defeat. And it was a phenomenal moment.
All right. Well, we're dwindling down our categories here. We got a few handful left here. All right, we're going to go over Tag Team of the Year. Tag Team of the Year. Play a little jingle of music. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Because I don't have a bumper for that. Not yet. We don't have that kind of money. But, Tag Team of the Year, I mean, like, I was really, really happy to see KO and Slammy together. I loved that they had their WrestleMania moment. They main evented a WrestleMania, a tag team main evented a WrestleMania. It was phenomenal. Like, it was the story was all there. They had a moment. I honestly had more fun night one than I did night two. And that tag match had a lot to do with it.
That was a better show.
Yeah. And, you know, even though they're not a tag team no longer this year, the Usos, you know, had a great year as well. A great story, great chemistry. You know, where they are now, obviously, they're not together, but, like, it's because of that. Like the story was crazy this year for the Bloodline. Alpha Academy, you know, I'd put them up there with Imperium as well because there are two tag teams that haven't won the gold, you know, this year, but they've been on Raw every week or SmackDown. They've been on TV consistently, you know, and they're having backstage segments consistently. You know, just recently coming back together, coming back from an injury, Pretty Deadly. They're slowly starting to grow on me. You know, Damage Control, you know, they've been down, you know, some people in their group and then up some. So they had an up and down year with injuries. You know, they were a pretty dominant tag team, you know, maybe not for the women's tag titles. I mean, they kind of floundered this year. They were Chelsea and multiple other tag partners. I can't remember too much of the women's tag titles where they've been going. That just shows how notable it was this year for the women's tag titles.
Alexa and Raquel had them, I think, for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Alexa got hurt.
Becky and Lita. That's right. Becky and
they merged
Lita.
them with the NXT titles.
Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, a lot happened, I guess. I guess a lot did happen in the women's tag titles, but only for that short amount of time. Because then, yeah, at least they were still on TV from week to week. Where else do I have tag team? Oh, Finn and Damien. Well, I guess you can any members of the Judgment Day. Just, you know, they beat Kevin Owens and Sami. Then they lost the tag titles for a short time to Cody and Jay. Weird pairing, I would say.
Speaking of weird pairings, we got them on Monday on Raw. We'll probably never get them again, but the Nusos. I loved the Nusos.
Yeah.
Kofi and Jay. I think like a what if or like an alternate universe where they had a run as a tag team. I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Actually, I was pretty excited for that match, and unfortunately, it didn't go far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of hoping a little bit more for Street Profits this year. That they're not treading water. They're slowly swimming. They're getting somewhere slowly, but they're getting somewhere. You know, Chase University has been done very well in NXT. They got DIY back together this year. I was really happy about that. You know, things don't look too good for the Brawling Brutes. They look like that's another group that's going to be breaking up soon. You know, let's talk about, you know, big one was the LWO getting together. You know, at the beginning of the year, they weren't a thing, you know, and then they ended up kind of being a big thing at the Backlash pay-per-view, which was great. I love that pay-per-view. It was a great pay-per-view. But yeah, now they have so many members that they were actually able to break it up into a totally different stable and add 2 more people. So, yeah, El Libio is doing their thing. Unfortunately, it kind of felt like New Day was kind of floundering this year. They did win the NXT tag titles, but I think they lost.
I forgot about that.
yeah. So that's kind of notable what they did this year. They kind of been taking like a backseat and putting some guys over this year. No big issue with that. The OC, after AJ Styles kind of got injured, nothing happened with them. Michin joined them. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson I haven't seen them in a while, and AJ Styles is back.
One of the Vikings got hurt.
Yeah, one of the Viking Raiders got hurt. So it's weird.
Pretty got hurt.
Yeah. So he did have some injuries too that put some tag teams out.
So it's been a rough year for tag teams in WWE, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure, and then we got like Indoshire, another new group put together. But A-Town Down Under was a tag team that I wanted together that nobody else wanted together. And I was like, these 2 guys are great together.
I'm into that.
Yeah, I'm into that too. Like, there's 2 guys that you fucking people hate. Put them together. Like, the way I thought that could be even better is if you would put fucking heel Miz and Maurice into a stable with them. Like, that would be like an annoying group of people that everybody would just hate, Right? I mean, talk about major heat, those people coming out. But Dre, what I miss here? Any notable tag teams that stick out to you? What was your favorite maybe tag team of the year?
Yes. Again, like I said, this was a real rough year for tag teams, at least in the WWE, because there was no one tag team that really stood out above the rest. And really this year, not like last year where it was, far and away the Usos last year were the best tag team, but this year there were a number of the women's tag team division has just been an absolute cluster. So we don't need to dwell on that too much, but it's been a cluster. There's been a potential there, but none of it's been fully realized that much. I mean, think about it. Earlier in this year, we thought there was potential in Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler as a tag team. That turned into a cluster and fizzled. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. We thought there was potential there. And Sonya Deville unfortunately got injured. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven is a cute thing for a while. Really, the only real best shining example from the women's tag team division this year has been the emergence towards the end of this year of Caden Carter and Katana Chance.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I love them as a tag team. Like, they're about the only thing that gives me any hope for the women's tag team division in WWE because, one, they're a legitimate tag team. They work great together as a tag team, better than, quite frankly, any other random pairing that WWE has thrown together. So they stand out. So I got to give them a Caden Carter and Katana a chance of shout out among tag teams of the year, even though they came onto the scene pretty late in the year, despite having been on Raw for a good chunk of the year. But ultimately, I think my tag team of the year, I gave it to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Oh, before I get into them, I would say that probably one of the best tag teams of the year probably did not come from WWE. It probably would have come from AEW in terms of FTR. But that's neither here nor there. And again, I don't follow that product enough to really speak on them with any real level of credibility. But I do know that they've been doing some excellent work down there in AEW. And if I was following that product more, I would probably give them my tag team of the year. But I can't. So I'm going to go with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as my tag team of the year, just because, one, them coming together as a tag team was a moment that fans were eagerly anticipating and highly looking forward to. And when it finally happened, fans were all for it and popped huge for it. They won the titles at, the grandest stage of them all in WrestleMania. That was a great moment for them. And then from there, they had a pretty strong run as champions with the numerous title defenses, great matches, excellent chemistry where they played off each other well. And then, and to top it off, they lost it in a match of significance. They didn't just lose it in some hot shot booking or some random bullshit. Like, them actually losing the tag team titles felt like a moment this year when it happened. Wasn't like other tag teams losses. It wasn't like when Cody and Jay lost the titles back to Judgment Day. It was like, oh, okay, that's over with.
Right.
Like that didn't feel like it had any impact or any, anything to it. When Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lost the tag team titles to Judgment Day, that felt momentous. And that speaks to how good they were together as a tag team. So for my money, my tag team of the year would be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Even if they didn't last the full year.
Yeah.
I think they made the most out of the time that they had as a tag team. More so than probably any other tag team this year.
Mm-hmm. Doyle, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I mean, a couple other AEW tag teams I would give honorable mention to besides FTR. It would be Aussie Open and the Acclaimed. But yeah, in terms of WWE, I think we had some decent tag matches. But yeah, as we've all kind of gone over, not really a lot of great teams. So yeah, I gave it to Sammy and KO as well. They kind of win by default. Which isn't to say they had a bad year. I mean, as I think Wayne said, first tag team to main event WrestleMania since WrestleMania 1. And they beat one of the greatest tag teams of all time in the Usos, R.I.P. And then they held the titles for like 6 months. They defended them a pretty good amount. They almost got them back, I think, twice. And they were always entertaining matches. And kind of a down year for tag team wrestling, that's good enough. At least this year. So yeah, KO and Sammy kind of by default.
Awesome. Yep. All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break so I can get something to drink, use the bathroom, and maybe Dre's probably having a coughing attack. Or maybe he's eating something.
Not at the moment because I'm not talking, so that's why I'm not coughing. But watch, the second I start talking again, my throat's going to be like, I'm dry.
So, all right. Well, let's take a quick break.
Yo, Hulkamaniacs, it's me, Hulk Hogan. Check out my new look. Brother, I was at Arby's scarfing down a chicken cordon bleu. That natural chicken tastes righteous. That's because it's not all pumped up with phosphates and fillers, which gave the Hulkster an idea. Maybe I don't need to be pumped up either. Who needs to be doing bench presses and deadlifts all day?
Now all of Arby's chicken is made with 100% all-natural, all-delicious chicken. Try our chicken cordon bleu with ham and melted Swiss. It'll have you saying,
I'm thinking Arby's, brother.
All right, and we are back. Guys, let me ask you something. Would you rather work with a unsafe Nia Jax, or a unsafe Ryback, or a drunk Jeff Hardy?
Nia Jax.
All right.
I think quick. Jeff Hardy, he's just going to fall down and look stupid.
Yeah, but he's still pain on you, right? Yeah, I think I might take chef. As long as he doesn't vomit on me, I think we're good.
Yeah.
No.
As long as he doesn't piss on me or puke on me.
Yeah.
Give me Nia Jax, because ultimately it's going to end with her sitting on my face.
Whoa.
Yeah, she might break your chest in the process. I mean, if she botches the shit out of it, come slamming down on your chest. Then again, if Ryback picks you up, he's going to drop you on your spine. Shit, I don't even know. And I was pondering it. You know, it's keeping me up late at night. You know, I got to bed around 2 a.m. So, all right, we got 3 left. Let's talk about the male and female wrestler of the year. Cool. Female wrestler of the year. For me, it was pretty simple for me. It was Rhea Ripley for me. Not only has she been top of the charts for the PWI ratings, you know, consistently, she's number 1 even this week. She has been on TV, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. She hasn't put on defended her matches or defended her title as many times as she should. But guess what? Neither is Roman, but she's at least there. Same thing with Logan Paul. You know, she's at least there every week, almost every episode if she can. She's definitely been the workhorse of the women's division this year. Granted, you know, there's other women who stick out, like EO sticks out. Just the women in you know that group together just have been busting their ass. You know, you could even say, like, down on NXT, you have Tiffany Stratton and Cora Jade and also Chelsea Green can definitely shine this year, making her out of all the people that Triple H hired to come back, she seems like the only one who's worth the money. And then we talked about over in AEW what Tony Storm has been doing, and Trinity over in Impact Wrestling. So at the end of the day, for the women, for me, it's got to be Rhea. And I'm just going to do these back to back for me. And the male for the year is going to be Seth Rollins. Again, a workhorse for this year. He had a couple good feuds this year, I think, with some people. He wasn't a bland and boring champion. A lot of the times I thought he was going to lose the title this year, and didn't. Yeah, he kept it relevant. He raised the status of that title very quickly. You know, for being a title, it has to stand side to side with whatever Roman has. You know, I mean, this is the world title. It's supposed to mean just as much, right? I think Seth has done that this year. You know, right under Seth too. If you want to put a good working, you know, another workhorse, it would be Gunther. This guy is undefeated, basically. I mean, this guy has not lost his damn title this year. He's had a very nice year. Put on some stellar matches this year as well. So, you know, I did see, like, some people, you know, maybe I'll bring it up. Some other picks, you know, that some other people picked. Maybe I'll bump heads with that. We'll see what you guys pick. Dre, who do you have for female and male wrestler of the year that really shined for you?
Okay, so starting with my women's wrestler of the year, Rhea Ripley would be an obvious choice, seemingly. Yeah. However, she's not my women's wrestler of the year, and everything that you said about her was completely correct and valid in terms of her being an absolute workhorse and everything she's put in WWE. She has been the champion. She's been at the top. She's been grinding on like you said, Raw and SmackDown and NXT. And she, along with Dom, have pretty much turned Judgment Day into the top faction in the WWE. And she's, like I said, been absolutely at the top. The thing that I hold against her, though, is the fact that her title reign throughout this year has been overall very lackluster. For the entire, she won that thing at WrestleMania, and she's really only had one noteworthy feud since then, and that was her feud with Raquel Rodriguez. Other than that, it's just been, they damn near basically treated the whole Raw women's roster like jobbers to her, rather than somebody building up an actual feud with her and actually challenging her through a well-developed feud. It's just been, all right, here's the next woman to step up and say they want to fight you and beat them down. And they even went the route of just, all right, we're just going to take all these women and throw them in a match together just because we all don't like each other, and somehow we're all challenging for your title too at the same time. Like, that's the only thing I really hold against. And it's not really Rhea's fault, but I got to blame somebody. And since we're talking about Women's Wrestler of the Year in terms of judging who's been the best, I kind of got to count that against her, the fact that she's had a lackluster run as champion. So the person who has not had as lackluster a run as champion, who is in fact my Women's Wrestler of the Year, is Io Sky. Because she has really won me over in this year. Starting out as, I believe she was the women's tag team champions alongside Dakota Kai at the beginning of the year, and going on from there to having a great match with Bianca Belair at Backlash, challenging for the Raw Women's Championship, to continuing to have great matches, and then winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then cashing it in at, what was that, SummerSlam, correct? If I'm not mistaken, or was it Payback after SummerSlam, I think? But either way, when she cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase to win and become Raw Women's Champion, and since she's become champion, she's had multiple title defenses. Almost all of them have been great matches. The only thing I can really complain about as far as her matches and her title defenses is just the fact that she hasn't won her matches cleanly. It's always been interference from Bayley and Damage Control helping her keep the titles, but that's just my own personal gripe. Like, I understand it from a storyline standpoint. She's in a faction. Obviously, the faction is going to help the champion stay on top. But I appreciate the fact that on her end, she wants to win clean. She wants to stand on her own and defend it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in 2024. I'd like to see her emerge and become the leader of Damage Control, ousting Bayley in the process, but that remains to be seen. She had one of the best matches of the year with Asuka in their WWE Women's title match. So yeah, overall, my Women's Wrestler of the Year is Io Sky. My runner-up, Bayley, because she's also been an absolute workhorse. She's taken a lot of L's in matches this year, but she's really been an absolute workhorse throughout the entire year. So she's my runner-up. Now on the men's side, my runner-up is Seth Rollins, because like you said before, he's been the workhorse this year. He's been grinding it out the entire year. When WWE decided that they had to have another title because Roman was monopolizing the championship and not being on TV enough, and they needed another title, they chose who better to put it on than Seth Rollins. And he's put in the work since then of elevating that title to relevance, or at least to respectability, since from being, looked at as that, the consolation prize or the far number 2 belt. Like, here's the other championship. Here's the you're not the man, but you can have this belt championship. And he's elevated it to a point where I think most people look at it now as a respectable world title. if somebody wins that world title, they aren't just looked at as, okay, well, you didn't beat Roman, but I guess you're a champ. Instead, no, you're looked at as you're the world heavyweight champion. And it's going to mean something moving forward. And that's a credit to Seth Rollins. Plus, he has one accolade that's unique to him this year in the fact that Seth Rollins is the only wrestler, male or female, to have worked a match on every single WWE PLE this year. He's the only one that did that.
Oh, damn.
And yet and still, he's my runner-up. Because my male wrestler of the year is motherfucking Gunther.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The IC champ. Because the thing that he's done that Seth Rollins has not done is, one, been champion the entire year, and two, not had a single bad match all year.
Mm-hmm.
He has elevated that title to the point where for a good chunk of this year, the Intercontinental Championship was seen as the second most prestigious title in the company after the WWE Undisputed Universal Constellation, whatever championship that Roman has.
Mm-hmm.
But Gunther did that almost single-handedly, and he did it in the ring by having banger after banger after banger of a match in title defenses, winning and winning clean and not winning the same way twice. He always wins in a different way. He has, by and large, been the best wrestler on WWE this year, hands down, in my opinion. And I believe going in this year, he's poised to become, if not the next World Heavyweight Champion, a World Heavyweight Champion at some point this year.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would be surprised to see that belt around his waist at some point this year.
Damn, that's true. Doyle, how about you?
We have one for female of the year. I'll give honorable mentions. As long as they're not injured or pregnant, you can just pencil in Becky and Bianca for me every single year because I fucking love both of them. But Io and Asuka both had great years. Here, it's funny. Some of the things that made me take Rhea over Io were the same things. Like, literally the same things Ray just said, except I see them as good things from Rhea. Like, I think Io cheats and Rhea doesn't. You know, like, you say her reign hasn't been that great. It's because she's so fucking dominant. Not for a single solitary second has her reign really been in doubt. You know, Roman's has a couple times. You know, she's just fucking mowing people down, including, what did she win, a 5-person, 6-person match a couple pay-per-views ago? Everybody just throwing at her. She's just crushing. What else did I want to say? Oh, yeah, and I'm sure somebody will think of one. I can't think of one. But a woman leading a group of men, basically. Like, how unique is that? You know, you never see that. You know, I'm sure there's somewhere there was one, I'm sure. But, like, you don't see any other woman even close to that kind of, like, leading dudes, you know, which is kind of cool role reversal. I love it. As for male of the year, Seth, only guy on only talent on every pay-per-view. I wrote that down, too. He did have a great year. Jay had a great year. Begrudgingly, I'll say Cody had a great year, even though he's kind of not really for me. But I mean, fucking Gunther, man. He wasn't pinned. He wasn't submitted. Bell to bell with the IC title. 571 days and counting. It's absolutely obliterated Honky Tonk's record for longest, most days with the IC title. He's actually I think he's third already, most accumulated days with the title, which is just insane. You know, and just great matches with a variety of opponents, you know, and all of it without doing crazy shit or taking risks or doing flips. You know, he's using psychology. You the way he moves, the way he stacks moves on moves, kind of like combos in Street Fighter or like a video, and his promos have really helped, or really improved rather quite a bit. I think Wayne said that earlier. And he's just getting better and better. He's already the best wrestler in the company, in my opinion. And he's still just getting better and better. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it as the year goes on and we start making predictions. But yeah, I would pencil him in for a world title run sooner rather than later. I saw a crazy stat about him that he's been his entire time with the company. He's been a champion for like 94% of it or something like that. He had that NXT Europe belt, I think. He had that for like 900 days or something crazy. And I think he was the NXT champion or whatever belt he had. He had some other belt for some crazy amount of time. And now this IC title reign, going on 600 days almost. So yeah, I think I could see a world where he never loses the IC title. He just picks up a world title and relinquishes the IC title, Ultimate Warrior style.
Is Gunther the Patrick Mahomes of WWE?
He doesn't sound enough like Kermit the Frog.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's unquestionably, for my money, the male wrestler of the year.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. I love these picks. Yeah, I was going to say, because ESPN Pro named Cody Rhodes Male Wrestler of the Year. And I was like, well...
Fuck out of here, ESPN.
Why? I was like, okay, let's highlight... Yeah, he won the Rumble, right? Cool. Going to WrestleMania, but you lost at WrestleMania. And then your story should have been over. You lost. Yeah, you won the tag titles with Jay. That's cool. Yeah, and you did defeat Brock Lesnar. That is big. But other than that, like, the chase for the gold just stopped. Like, it just... You just... and now he's just talking about... Well, you know what? We'll get to that. We'll
all right. He's doing a whole lot of winning, except when it matters the most.
Yes.
That's what it is. Cody Rhodes is the Dallas Cowboys of the WWE. He out here getting popping in the regular season, but when the playoffs hit, he coming up short.
Oh man!
The guy wins one Super Bowl and suddenly he's an expert on not choking. Right.
Is that it? Is that it? Oh, match of the year, guys. Match of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but a lot of my matches for the year were at WrestleMania 39 this year. Maybe it was just the moment, the stories that lined up, or the match itself. But I've really enjoyed the triple threat with Gunther and Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I really enjoyed that because I enjoyed the story for that too. Everybody had something to gain. Gunther had his title reign to extend and this big win at WrestleMania. Sheamus winning the Intercontinental title and finishing his Grand Slam story, and Drew McIntyre winning a title in front of a WrestleMania crowd. So everybody had something on the line for that match. Even Charlotte and Rhea. Like, Rhea finally overcoming Charlotte and on the grandest stage of them all. That's when Rhea, leveled up, I think, was at WrestleMania. Even another Gunther one was Gunther and Chad Gable on Raw. They put out a slamming match. We had the Usos versus Roman and Solo. We had the Usos versus KO and Sammy, and I think it was like a street fight or some sort of Chicago street. I forget what kind of street fight it was. A gimmick street fight of some kind. The War Games matches. Even not the whole pay-per-view, but the men's Royal Rumble itself. I recently rewatched the men's Royal Rumble, and like that whole match was just awesome. You know, we saw a lot of maybe possible future matches down the road, and we saw a lot of cool things, some returns and stuff. You know, I rather enjoyed that. What else do I have here? Yeah, I mean, also Sami versus Roman. I mean, that was great. That one had me very close to believing Sami winning the title. But you know, that was Elimination Chamber. It was done so well. And you know, Roman and Cody Rhodes match at WrestleMania was fantastic. Even though the story didn't end the way he wanted it to, it was still a great match, great story leading all the way up to it, and now we just gotta relive it again. I'm sure you guys have ones from other, you know, maybe wrestling companies even, and I know Doyle, you're gonna dig deep on that one. So let's hear what you got.
Oh, I spit most of them out in the in the Will Ospreay tirade earlier. Yeah. But I will give honorable mentions to Sami and KO versus the Usos. That match was fucking awesome. In another year, that might have been the match of the year. Sami and Roman at Elimination Chamber. Rhea and Charlotte was fucking awesome. You know, it was great. And kind of. With my sense of humor, whatever. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest was fucking awesome. So much fun.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was great.
And from NXT, Dragunov and Dijak was just a fucking banger. And if that had been at like a WrestleMania day, that probably would have been my pick. But yeah, I mean, as much as in this space, I think on more than one occasion I have poo-pooed triple threat matches, and I'm sure I'll do it again. But there wasn't a better match for my money than Gunther and with Drew and Sheamus for the IC title. Just fucking knock down, drag out, 75 blows to the chest. You know, but really, what really stood out, you know, I kind of said it earlier when talking about Gunther, you know, the simplicity, you know, no need for flips and daredevilry and, you know, it's just fucking guys out there kicking the shit out of each other, you know, you know, they did rely, of course, on the one guy going out and the two fight, and the third man comes and breaks it up, and somebody else goes out. Of course, that they had that, but even with that formula, it was just a fucking banger. I watched it maybe 6-7 times, including earlier today, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not too long, and fucking. Gunther powerbombs Sheamus onto Drew, then powerbombs Drew and pins him. Mwah, chef kiss. I was rooting so hard for Sheamus because I wanted him to get his Grand Slam. And we saw a couple other people get Grand Slams. Finn got it when he won the tag title, and Becky got it when she won the NXT title. But that's neither here nor there. Scott, I was rooting for Gunther. Or I'm sorry, for Sheamus, but when Gunther won, and I remember, I think it might have been that night, looking and seeing like, what's the honky tonk man, and being like, well, if he's got like 4 or 5 months to get to Savage, you know, at the time, and I was like, I don't know, maybe they will, and it's like, I think they're gonna, and then it's like, I think they're gonna have him beat honky tonk man, and now he's well beyond. I think he's 100 days past honky tonk at this point. And I don't think he's going to lose it anytime soon. Maybe WrestleMania. I don't know. I've said it, but I'll say it again. I have him beating Brock at WrestleMania. That's my prediction. But that's neither here nor there. Triple threat match, my favorite match of the year. 5 stars.
Nice.
All right.
That was an excellent one. That was definitely on my list of matches of the year. Just to piggyback off some of the ones that y'all have already mentioned. Definitely some of my matches of the year: Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania. That was one of my matches of the year. Io Sky versus Asuka on SmackDown, one of my matches of the year. Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, that was one of my matches of the year. A match that I don't think anybody has brought up yet, but was one of my matches of the year. Edge versus Sheamus, Edge's last match in WWE.
Oh yeah,
that one on SmackDown. That one
was
fun.
One
of my matches of the year. That was a phenomenal match. But despite all of those, my match of the year does not come from the WWE. My match of the year was one that, and I alluded to this earlier when we talked about non-WWE superstars of the year. Things that resonate with me that really hit with me is something that has to break through the WWE bubble, something that has to pop up on my radar and really get my attention. And in terms of matches of the year, I had a late arrival that popped up on my radar, even though the match itself happened earlier this year. But I watched it, and it took me back to my days as a kid watching wrestling, watching old NWA, WCW matches, and where it wasn't so much about the storyline or the drama or whatever it was going into it, which is a lot of what makes WWE great, but a lot of what it relies upon is, especially with the stuff that was bloodline related. I remember us talking about a lot of that last year, where we would talk about matches and we would say, yeah, the match itself was okay, but it was really about the story that was being told, which that works for a lot of matches. But my match of the year was just about the pure action in the ring. And let me not bury the lead any further. I'll just go ahead and say my match of the year was Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, fucking so good.
That fucking match was phenomenal. And you could argue that their rematch at AEW, was it Worlds Collide or World?
Forbidden Door?
Forbidden Door, yes. Thank you. Yeah. Their rematch from Forbidden Door is arguably just as good. However, the only reason why I give the edge to their Wrestle Kingdom match is because that one was just them two one-on-one. The match at Forbidden Door had a little bit of outside activities and stuff from I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that used to be associated with Kenny Omega and then turned on him and kind of sided with Will Ospreay.
Don Callis,
yeah. His shenanigans where he was part of the match, where he was interfering in the match, and then the referee kicked him out of the ring. But then he comes back later on in the match, and the referee just did nothing about it. Like just some, and again, that's very nitpicky, but just some of those minor continuity gripes in that match. Just I kind of didn't like. The match itself was still phenomenal, and it had great moments in the rematch that called back to their original match, such as Will Ospreay just repeatedly ramming Kenny Omega's head into the announce table, which was him referencing back to their match at Wrestle Kingdom when Kenny Omega smashed Will Ospreay's head through a table. Again, not into the table, through the table, after he had already busted him open. And like I said, so that continuity, that attention to detail in the match, in between the two matches, I very much appreciated. But again, Wrestle Kingdom was just two guys, one-on-one, in the ring, wrestling their fucking asses off for over 30 minutes. Which is another thing I appreciated about it. They were given full time to cook. They weren't limited by all right, we got only so many hours for the show. We gotta fit it in. We gotta cut time here in order to make time here. It's like, go in the ring and cook. And that's exactly what them boys did for over 30 minutes. I saw spots in that match that I have never seen before, and I've been watching wrestling since the 80s. Freaking when Kenny Omega DDT'd Will Ospreay onto the top of the turnbuckle.
Oh my God.
Fucking what? A DDT, not ramming their head into the top of the turnbuckle, not a trip or a fall or a slip up. No, we're both standing up here on top of this turnbuckle, and I'm DDTing your ass into the exposed part of this shit. Fucking insane. Absolutely insane. I could go on and on about that match and how phenomenal that match was. And it's readily available online. Just Google it and you will see it easily. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend watching it. That match, like I said, it took me back to being a wrestling fan as a kid, just watching two wrestlers just go at it. Just absolutely go at it. Just watch two guys who were the best at what they do in their craft, just going toe-to-toe in the ring, giving it everything they got, completely cooking, telling the story in the match itself, not necessarily through drama or through script or story, but just telling it through combat. To where these two start off the match peak condition, great shape, and they end the match worn out, spent, battered, bloody, on their last legs, and one guy just happens to get the edge over the other. It was fucking beautiful. That's my match of the year. Yeah. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, Wrestle Kingdom.
Dude, I love it. I love it that we all have a variety of different ones. We're not all like, yeah, we'll all firmly agree this one match is the best match of the year, and that's it. No. Yeah, we have a nice variety. I like it. Dude, that's awesome. Hey guys, like overall, like this year, what are your like top 3 favorite pay-per-views from this year? I mean, for me, it was probably the Rumble, WrestleMania, and Backlash. Thus far.
Backlash is, I would say definitely WrestleMania and Backlash are on my list, because Backlash was a phenomenal pay-per-view, and it had a lot to do with that Puerto Rican crowd being absolutely on
Bad Bunny.
On 10 from start to finish. The way they freaking, as I talked about earlier, the way they went over for Zelina Vega before the match and after the match with the Yo Soy Boricua, Pate tu lo sepas chant for her, the way they absolutely went nuts for Bad Bunny when he came out and sang the shit out of his song. Yeah, they were on, and Io Sky, the way they were over as hell for Io Sky in her match with Bianca Belair. So much so they were booing Bianca and cheering the shit out of Io. That crowd made that pay-per-view. I don't know what my number 3 would be. Give me a second, I have to think.
Well, which AEW pay-per-view was at Wembley? Was that All In or All Out? I can't remember. Whichever one it was, that was a fucking great show.
I think that was All In.
Is it All In? I can't remember. But anyway, that was a great show. Yeah, somebody said earlier WrestleMania Night 1, if you had to pick between the two. Overall, a great WrestleMania. Yeah. But if you had to choose between the two nights, I thought Night 1 actually was a little better. And Elimination Chamber was fun, too. That was a fun match. And, of course, the Sami Roman match was fucking great.
Yeah, that was the match. Yeah, that Elimination Chamber match was phenomenal. That was Montez Ford's coming out party. I really thought he was. Yeah. I thought they were going to run with him for that. The way he came in that ring and showed out.
I think we had a lot of good pay-per-views.
Still waiting on his push, but we'll see.
Yeah. I definitely think this year we had a lot of good pay-per-views. So I'm not disappointed. Not this year. I have a question for the podcast written in by Andrea. You can also write in a question for the podcast if you go on our website on onpodium.com. Let me play her music.
Would you like to answer a question right at this particular time? Would you like to do that?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions.
and I want to have them answered immediately.
Can I ask a question, Macho Man?
4 questions.
I'm sorry about that.
Alrighty, and she asked, finally, The Rock has come back for Roman Reigns' title, but it seems like so has everybody else, with Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, and now The Rock. What does it look like for Roman Reigns between now and WrestleMania? Good question. Very good question. Because I think we were discussing this on Discord. Because we are going to WrestleMania, and I don't know about you guys, but I'd much rather see Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania than Roman versus Cody. But that's just me living the moment because The Rock is there. But I feel like we might get it at Elimination Chamber. They might just try to knock it out early. I mean, there's so much speculation here, but like, what do you do with all these other guys that are lined up that want to go after Roman? I mean, Randy is fresh back and he's on fire, and LA Knight I'm not done. He's like, what about me? I was doing this story with him, and all of a sudden now everybody returns, and not even, I forgot to mention the big elf in the room, CM Punk, another guy who's after Roman. So, I mean, where's this going, guys?
Well, it didn't seem like that long ago we were talking about who's left for Roman to face. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, there's a whole list of people. Mm-hmm. So I think we got a couple things that could happen here, right? I think we're going to see him versus Roman and Randy at the Rumble, right? Now here's the question: do they have Randy beat Roman at the Rumble, and then you can do Roman Rock with no title involved, and that's how you get the title off of Roman and get a Rock match without the title being involved?
Yeah.
It's one thing they can do. A lot of speculation that it'll be Randy at Rumble, then Rock in an Elimination Chamber, and then Cody at WrestleMania. I'm not so sure Roman's not going to beat all of them and keep winning.
Yeah.
And there's a big pay-per-view coming up after WrestleMania in Germany, where I think maybe you might see Gunther beat Roman for all the gold in Germany. I know Gunther's Austrian, but same difference.
Close enough.
That's going to be a fucking humongous moment.
Yeah.
That's going to be a Zelina Vega type of moment, if that's what they choose to do. Where does that leave Cody? I have no idea. I don't know if he can sustain another loss to Roman at WrestleMania. Maybe you don't even do it. Maybe it's Cody Seth again. That would be intriguing. A lot of history there. You could do Seth. If Seth beats Roman, you could do Seth Cody. I'm sorry, not Seth. Randy Cody. Kind of a lot of history there. So there's fucking a lot. And that's not even scratching the surface of all the other possibilities.
Yeah.
There's a fucking lot of moving parts here. I mean, this is as exciting a WrestleMania season as I can remember, because it doesn't. A couple weeks ago, I thought I had the card all figured out.
Yeah, me
and
too.
now I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The only answer I would have for something like this, considering it looks like there's more and more and more people stepping up to Roman, is maybe the Rumble winner is Punk, and maybe these other guys who are all gunning for him end up going in an Elimination Chamber match for a number one contender. I mean, that's possible. That's a
yes. Like I could see Punk winning the Rumble, but choosing Seth.
Yeah.
And that leaving the winner of, I guess, Elimination Chamber to face Roman.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities. It's just that I don't. I just hate it when we've seen this before when like a guy like The Rock comes back for just this Rumble to WrestleMania run and kind of like shadows guys who've been busting their ass. And like we mentioned, like breakout star of the year, like, you know, LA Knight. Like if he doesn't have what's going to be his WrestleMania moment? You know, I was hoping it'd be for the United States title at least, but he's got to.
It probably still will be.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what it ends up being. And I don't know what's in store for Orton. If Roman just plows through all these fucking guys till Mania, it's just like, because they're advertising like in a lot of places, like, oh wait, we're getting Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. It's like, not really, not yet. Like, it's not cemented in. Like, you can't just, you know. It's like you walking around your work going, I'm going to be supervisor next year. I'm going to be supervisor next year. And it's like, dude, you can't just walk around and keep saying it. It's not just going to magically happen. You got to earn that shit. So, like, we seen, you know, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns on the posters for Philadelphia. I'm just like, is that a spoiler? Is that, like, telling me that, like, between now and WrestleMania, Roman's just going to destroy whoever else is in his way? Because I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it, but that's how it is.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's more than likely what's going to happen. I don't think he's necessarily going to destroy people, but I think we're going to get a title match at Royal Rumble, obviously, which will be Roman versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton is going to lose. Roman's going to retain the title. More than likely, we're going to get Roman. If the match does happen, it will happen at Elimination Chamber. And the main reason why that's probably going to happen as much as I would like it to happen at WrestleMania, it's not going to happen at WrestleMania. Big reason why it's not going to happen at WrestleMania has nothing to do with wrestling. It has everything to do with The Rock and his schedule. Mm-hmm. The Rock co-owns the UFL, which is the United Football League, which is the merger between the old USFL and XFL, which The Rock was co-owner of XFL. They've now merged into the UFL, United Football League. Mm-hmm. That league launches March 30th, which is right before WrestleMania. Therefore, in that lead up, The Rock, as co-owner, is going to be busy as absolute hell, which means he's not going to be in a position to do anything for WrestleMania short of maybe make an appearance, but not any condition to have a match of any significance or be involved in any feud where there would have to be some build-up, especially a WrestleMania level build-up. That ain't something that you can just put on the shoulders of one guy and be like, all right, carry it into WrestleMania, I'll meet you there. Like, he's not going to be able to do that. I believe right now is probably a small window that Rock has. If not now, then maybe from Rumble through Elimination Chamber, he may have just enough of a window to work a program with Roman Reigns. Obviously, it's not going to be for the title because that takes all the suspense out of it because everybody know good and damn well Rock ain't winning no title. What he said on Raw this past week tells you what the feud's going to be. When he said, I'm going to go out to eat. Should I sit at the bench or sit at the bar or should I sit at the head of the table? And I believe I said something about this last year or sometime in the past when talking about the prospect of this match and what the storyline could be. I said this before. The storyline would be about who's the head of the table. Or I think what I said was who was the real head of the Anoa'i family, i.e., who's the head of the table. And that's going to be the storyline of their feud. Who really runs the family? Who's really at the head of the table? And it's going to be a non-title match. It's not going to be about tribal chief or bloodline. It's going to be about head of the table. Who really runs this shit? And because of that, that leaves it open to have a level of suspense in terms of who could actually win. Because The Rock could win that match, cement himself as, the true head of the Anoa'i family. That could feed into the downfall of Roman Reigns where, Roman's is starting to lose it. Roman's starting to lose his grip. He's not the dominant person he is. We're seeing chinks in his armor. He's cracking. He's breaking down, and which leaves him primed and ready for Cody to seize on it and finally win at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
which is probably what I think is going to happen.
I definitely think that Roman versus Rock definitely does not need a title involved.
No, it's not going to have a title involved because, again, like I said, that takes all the suspense out of it.
Well, here's another thing
about head of the table. Either one of them could win.
Yeah, another thing about Rock and Roman at WrestleMania means that it has to go on last, right? And it has to be a big performance.
Right.
And The Rock hasn't wrestled in over a fucking decade. And the last time he did, he tore everything in his he tore his like abdomen apart.
Uh-huh.
Like, can Rock deliver us a fucking really good 25 minute match in 2024?
Yes.
I'm not so sure.
I think so, absolutely, easily. He could easily do that. I've seen a number of people pose the same question. The Rock and old gimpy ass fucking Hulk Hogan had a classic at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
And that was Rock in his prime and old gimpy ass Hulk Hogan. And they pulled out a classic.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, top tier wrestling, but it was absolutely top tier entertainment.
Touche,
you had two
friend.
guys who were masters at what they do in that ring, who knew how to hold a crowd in the palm of their hand and work a match that had everybody sitting on the edge of their seats on 11 the whole time. Can The Rock and Roman Reigns do that with 70,000 fans in Australia? Abso-fucking-lutely. Easily. Could Rock potentially injure himself? Yes, Rock is old. And he's gonna want to put forth the best performance that he can. And given how busy he is compared to, at least when Hogan had that match, Hogan wasn't like super busy and preoccupied with a million other things. He just fucking old. Rock is somewhat limited, obviously, by his incredibly busy schedule, especially with the UFL launching, which I'm sure is also going to take away from his time and ability to prep for this match. But hopefully he can do enough. And with the help of Roman doing probably most of the heavy lifting in the match, they can pull off a great match. And again, they'll have their skills, their experience, and the energy of 70,000 screaming Aussies. So can they pull off a good 20-minute match? Yes, easily.
Right. Well, just breaking
I kind of
news.
think it might be cool if they could give us the tribal combat match we didn't get from Jay and Roman. That fucking dog shit. No one can interfere, but there's interference. I think there's a good chance we'll see some interference because
the whole family.
Partially the whole family, but I also think that this match may help to kickstart Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania.
Yes.
You'll see Jimmy on Roman's side. Jay will obviously probably be on Rock's side. And
but I meant like an Australian, like they're much more in touch with like
Polynesian. Oh, you mean like get really truly into their Samoan roots?
Yeah, like they do that dance like at the rugby team. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm talking about a theatrical kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm spitballing here, but
I wouldn't rule it out. I would not rule it out because this
that might also be a way to kind of work around any deficiency The Rock may have from having not wrestled for 10 years.
Yeah, the match itself is going to be sure. The match itself is going to be the match itself, but I could see a lot of ceremony happening around the match as well.
Yeah,
especially like I said, being in Australia near the island of Samoa and getting in touch with those, taking it back to their Samoan roots. Right. I don't know if it'll be like the whole tribal combat type thing, but I could see them playing up the head of the table and definitely leaning in on that Anawa'i
that might be cool
tradition, we might see a bunch of them motherfuckers show up. Yeah, see a whole ceremony of freaking Rikishi and Fatu and whoever else is still alive, just all showing up for that match.
Well, Rikishi was seen recently backstage. I was like,
Yeah, because it was in L.A. I mean, out in Cali. Well, not L.A. It was in San Diego. So he lives in Cali. So I think they said he was just there visiting. But I wouldn't rule out him playing some sort of part in whatever the build up will be to a potential Rock Roman. Yeah.
Dude. So speaking of the Hulkster, breaking news: 70-year-old Hulk Hogan is training for. No, he's training. He's training for his 40th anniversary for an in-ring return, possibly.
God.
You don't train your ass on that motherfucking couch.
Hogan versus Ric Flair. Let's do it. Yeah, Ric Flair says, I could come back and wrestle. I bet you could, man. But don't.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, but do not give a single solitary fuck about Hulk Hogan wrestling again.
Yeah, I
barely give a fuck about Hulk Hogan, period.
70. I don't want to see a 70-year-old.
No.
Wrestler.
Somebody trying to see you Hulk.
Remember how sad Ric Flair's last match was?
Yeah.
Where he damn near fucking died. I think he's in
physical shape than Hulk Hogan is.
Well,
that's not saying much.
I wish his last match was the one with Shawn Michaels, and that was truly his last match, because that was a good way to go out. Great way to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And they ruined it. They tainted it.
Should have been. In my selective memory, choose that to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't nobody trying to see old ass Hulk Hogan trying to Hulk up, shaking them goddamn wrinkles in the ring, pointing at somebody.
Yeah,
sit your motherfucking old ass down.
I rather
give a fucking leg drop and never walk again.
Sean's last match should have been Sean's last match. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really
dog shit Saudi match.
If I see the Hulkster doing anything, it's gonna be dancing on stage.
Yes.
Oh yes, dancing on stage with all the other WWF wrestlers.
Yeah, this was from like the Slammies, and what was it, 87? I think
1987. Yeah, I also have a.
This is also the same one where Vince does that dance number, and he does a song and dance number called "Stand Back." Yeah. That's pretty fucking awesome. Also, I would highly recommend checking that
out. Upcoming episodes, we are going to be predicting the Royal Rumble, episode. Because you know what, it's still a few weeks away, so God knows what could change till then. There was apparently leaked photos of the plans for the Rumble. I saw the call sheets, and I don't think they're real.
I don't think they're real either.
I don't think they're either.
No,
and considering one of the women that are on there, she just made her AEW debut today. Just literally just now while we were having the podcast, and that is Diana Perazzo, Donna, that one chick who's always with Chelsea Green who was on NXT. I think it's Donna Perazzo. Anyway,
I don't know why I thought you was about to say Mercedes Moné.
No.
Well, she's
considering that's been all the rumor this week.
Yeah. She actually.
She's going to AEW. She's coming to AEW. Like, okay.
Yeah,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly.
I'm still not ruling out her return to WWE.
Yeah, I'll believe it after.
Okay, here's a question for you, Re Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Or is it Monet or Money? Because the theme song says Money.
I think it's Mercedes Money.
Money was a play on Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is Mercedes Money. I don't know why I say Mercedes Monet, just because I don't see the Y on the end.
A lot of people say Monet, or I think even the commentators say that, and it's like I don't think that's correct. I think it's Money.
I don't know. Isn't there an accent on the E?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I think that's why it's Mercedes Monet. Yeah. I think.
But then
it's like a fancy way of saying money, like Monet, not money. It's Monet.
Yeah. Also, I have been reaching out to some people in social media, other big wrestling fans. I just stumble across their page, and maybe these people got a couple thousand followers, but the fact of the matter is they're wrestling fans, and they're wrestling fans who put in the time on their pages to just represent how big of a fan that they are. So maybe we might be bringing a couple of them on the podcast one at a time, whether it's during a normal episode or just a one-off where we interview them. So, yeah, that'll be fun. I'm going to try to do that this year. I got a couple.
Fucking bring it.
Yeah. Let's interview some peeps. But yeah, I guess if you're looking for any of our gear, merchandise, it's on Pro Wrestling Tees. Just put it on your favorite podcast Championship Wrestling. It should be in the search menu, and we have a bunch of shirts. Doyle is probably still naked. I don't know if he has clothes on now. He should probably.
I put on my brand new PCW shirt that I ordered from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh.
But other than that, no pants.
Yeah. Out here looking like an old 80s cartoon character. Shirt and no pants.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. All right. Well, do you guys got anything else you want to plug to Dre?
Nothing this time around. Just as always, find me in PCW Discord. As always, sharing thoughts on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT and any other wrestling I happen to be watching in the moment live.
Yeah. Doyle, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm just in the Discord. Go like the Facebook page. You can find all our updates about shows and sales at ProWrestlingTees.com and occasionally a meme or two. But please, please, please.
Yes. With that being said, I will play this off and hit it, boys.
You're really getting a lot of mileage out of this.
You bet your ass I am. Of course, why not? Love it.
You are the world's dumbest son of a bitch.
The fact that day in and day out, for almost 6 years, I have proved to everybody in the world that I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary. Nobody can touch me.
You are not ready for Oscar!
Because the Street Profits are up and we want the smoke. You're next! Talk about your songs, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. New day!
The cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah, Macho Madness here.
Welcome to the Kevin Owens Show. Lately, he just hasn't been very oozy. Because I'm the Miz, and I'm awesome.
Those rotten bastards.
Bye-bye, bitch.